My name is Erica Lorraine Spencer, and I remain subject to state surveillance and terrorism by the state of California that is operating a malicious targeting system, which is referred to as federal group stalking and monitoring via communication devices. And it is in violation of federal stalking statute 18 U.S.C. sections 2261A subsections 1 and 2. My website and podcast serve the public good by publishing evidence of the public entity's ceaseless engagement in a pattern of conduct intended to stalk and monitor via communication devices, surveil, harass, and terrorize an American citizen in concert with the people of the state of California. Documentation serves the lawful purposes of wide exposure, federal prosecution, and influencing federal legislation with policies specifically designed to punish, dismantle, and disincentivize an unprecedented targeting system by a public entity that acts in concert with the people of the state in order to criminally place under surveillance and terrorize an American citizen, which is a matter of public corruption in the state of California. Notice: intellectual property theft is particularly egregious and equally unlawful where the sole inventor and creator of the intellectual property is the targeted individual. Erica Lorraine Spencer, subject to the unconstitutional and inhumane government system of gang stalking, otherwise referred to as federal group stalking and monitoring via communication devices, because of which the intellectual property created by the targeted individual, who is, in fact, Erica Lorraine Spencer, as the intellectual property also proves, serves to establish via evidence and expose the existence of criminal surveillance and thus an inherent threat posed by the U.S. government and the civilian population sharing engagement in the unlawful system. Such evidence that includes all of the content created by Erica Lorraine Spencer, images, videos, audio, etc., belongs solely and entirely to Erica Lorraine Spencer only and is necessarily published online in order to protect her life, safety, and liberty as the targeted individual, who is also the intellectual property owner, no less protected from theft procured through targeting by a public entity. Theft of any intellectual property belonging to Erica Lorraine Spencer, which is necessarily committed while she, being both creator and inventor, remains oppressed by the public entity via criminal surveillance, is a criminal and inhumane means of infringement under all circumstances and not protected nor enforceable pursuant to any invalid or fraudulent acts of copyright, trademarks, patents, etc., including as it pertains to any ideas associated with or generated from the intellectual property or the intellectual property owner, Erica Lorraine Spencer, whether creative, business, or otherwise, nor does the intellectual property owner consent to any such means of infringement and theft. This is Alrighty, it is. All right, Peter, I'm going to go downstairs to the office. Peter's monitoring and is engaged in what is harassment while he's hostile to documentation that he knows is on the record. He is, the fake sun is over my room. Remember, I stayed in the room on the third floor before, and where my room is positioned is where the fake sun is. And that's also where the entity was maintaining activity outside of my room, and doing so pursuant to what is the intent to harass. And so in that same manner, as I move away from where my room is located, so does the fake sun, where Peter's audible activity is that which is also in substance harassing. And this is Peter's engagement in monitoring me. That's the state that's engaged in what is harassment, raising his voice, yelling at me, talking to me like I am his child, while he is hostile. This is what demons do because they're monitoring and they're hostile to being monitored. Excuse me. Excuse me? It's currently 11:22 a.m. So he's monitoring me. He's a sex offender, been monitoring me in my hotel room the whole time, and is meeting me at the door under the fake sign of my hotel room. Are you getting on the elevator? I'm going to go ahead and let you go first then. Which way? If it'll come.
I'm only using this because I could not.
Okay, hold on. Give me a second, sweetie. See, hold on one second. Excuse me, can you back up some? Thank you. Hold on 1 second. All right, the people of the state trying to have a stalker's child monitor me by staying on the elevator. That's what that was. It's P.O.C. And it's RAMADA by WYNDHAM. RAMADA by WYNDHAM is the one that's engaging in harassment. RAMADA by WYNDHAM is the one that's monitoring. RAMADA is a sex offender. And so is the state acting via RAMADA, the people of the state. It's 11:23 a.m. Peter taking my key. Oh, why is this falling off like this? I'm dealing with my bag, sir. Peter taking my key in an unorthodox manner and telling me to go to the office where I should be entitled to check out like everybody else. And my receipt, which is what I'm requesting while he's taking my key outside of the door. Like there's some issue, like I shot up the room or something like that. Checkout is 11 a.m. They're monitoring me by knocking on my door while I'm in the shower. They're monitoring me while they're amplifying the sound of traffic in the shower while I'm engaged in personal private activity, which Peter is aware of. He's monitoring me. He's a sex offender. So this is a sex offender that's being hostile because he is a sex offender and he's being documented as such. This is the entity that, again, the psychopath that engages in that conduct. And it's currently 11:24 a.m. All right, I want to document. I have to fix my bag, it's falling off. This is monitoring underway and leaving out of my room at 11. Checkout is 11. You have the entity that is monitoring, knowing exactly who I am and what I'm doing. Also, this is the sex offender. And that's also engaging in what is a harassment, different treatment, waiting outside of my hotel room while you're monitoring me, and then raising your voice, talking about what time is it, as though I am, again, like his teenage daughter. He's engaged in federal group stalking and monitoring, and is monitoring every second, including with the sex offenders that are pacing on that's the 10 freeway, and also on the G Street. And the fake sun is over me. Remember, it's over me at 2:44 p.m. when I arrived on September 1st, 2025, while Peter is engaged in what is the sex offensive gang stalking in a hotel room as a third-party innkeeper, and using what is stepping out of my room at 11:20. I guess that's his guise for harassment, which is still criminal monitoring under Title 18, Section 2261A, subsections 1 and 2. All right, but for my documentation, you're talking about what is this a different treatment as a customer. P.O.C. I'm going to document this harassment. Here we go. Okay, I just want to get my receipt. Oh, that's a motorcycle. It's pretty loud in here. Okay, so is there a problem, Peter? That's what it looked like when you were demanding my key card outside of my room? Is there a problem? You asked me, you didn't remember our conversation upstairs?
What receipt you want?
What receipt am I entitled to when I check out? That's what I want. There's nothing wrong with the room. Did you check it already? No? Yeah, there's never been anything wrong. Clearly you remember me because there seems to be some sort of personal issue here, but I can speak with management about that later. But I just want to make sure, is there a problem because you're greeting me outside of my hotel room? Are you waiting for me?
I'm working.
You're working?
I am working. You come to work.
I'm going to need you to stop yelling right now. Stop yelling.
You ask me too much questions.
No, you're yelling at me, and I'm not your child.
I'm just asking
I'm not
about
your child,
the key.
Peter.
I'm not child either. I'm not child
I'm not
either.
your child. Stop
You
yelling
understand
at me.
that? I'm not child either.
You are a professional. You're supposed to be.
Okay, there you go. This
Yeah,
is
give me my receipt. And where's your manager at? I want to speak to her right now.
Everybody's go from the vacation.
Everybody's gone, so
Yeah,
you're
we did that
engaged in
Monday morning.
harassment.
Yes, Monday
So you
morning.
can engage in harassment and nobody's
Who?
here?
Nobody here.
Nobody's here to deal with
He
your
paid for my
harassment?
work. He paid for my work, so I can take
Who is
care
he?
of everything.
Harry?
Huh?
Who's he?
Who is he? Harry.
License 8YYP590, Impossible White, while Peter is harassing me inside of the office as his form for monitoring.
I'm not harassing you.
Yes, you are.
Okay. Take
I'm
your
not
receipt
doing
and please leave.
harassment. I am going to leave.
Thank you.
I want to know what's the status
Have
of
a
the
great
room.
night, okay? Have a great
Excuse
day.
me, I'm speaking. What is the status of your room? You're not trustworthy since you're yelling and treating
I'm
me
not
different.
yelling.
Yes,
I'm
you
not
are.
yelling.
Yes,
I'm
you
not
are.
yelling.
You're the one that
I'm not
escalated
yelling.
it to this point.
I'm not yelling.
So since you can't be
Thank you.
treated
Have a
with
great
what
day,
happened
okay?
with my transaction, what is the state of my room and the state of my deposit?
Now I already reversed your deposit. I already reversed your deposit.
Rush?
Reverse. For your
Reverse?
account.
Okay, you didn't even look at the room now? But I mean, it's
No,
fine. But
they cannot show up here. I already reversed it.
Okay.
Before you come, I just make it ready for you.
Okay, that's all you have to say. That's what I want to know. If you're not, when you're acting like that, that's going to automatically cause everything else to be
No
suspect.
problem, ma'am. No problem. Okay? Thank you.
And the corporate office, they also take customer service concerns, right?
Yeah. Call
Okay.
them. Don't worry about it.
I will.
My name is Peter. Okay?
I know you, man.
Yeah.
So does
Thank you.
everybody else that
Thank
needs
you.
to know.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you.
You're an immigrant?
Of course.
Okay. That's also relevant to what you're engaging here and the way in which you engage in it also. And I'm also sure that this is a family business, so you're not the only immigrant. You're speaking for a business of immigrants that are engaged in harassment. Okay. Rolling up these details. You have a good day. This is RAMADA by WYNDHAM, the one on G Street in Ontario, California. Monitoring with the people of the state outside of the office, due to what is Title 18 federal stalking. That is knowledge, surveillance of the documentation itself, because there's no other basis for the ongoing harassment unless he's just a blatant racist. All right, but this is something that's occurred following my staying here as a third-party subject to gang stalking by WYNDHAM. Okay, this is P.O.C. and it's 11:31 a.m. I'll see you soon, Peter. All right, this is P.O.C. That's the entity that's monitoring at the same time. A demon is crossing path, engaging in terrorism, and his audible activity is harassment itself. 9NQZ206. The fake sun is over the top of my head like it is on September 1st, 2025 at 2:44 p.m. after I walked down G Street from American Inn, and the fake sun remained outside of my hotel room window at this time. Remember, I checked out at American Inn on the 1st at 11. The fake sun is over me outside of my window facing Euclid Avenue. 8VOC479 is stalking me as an entity. 9HAB041 is stalking me as an entity, and so is Peter, and RAMADA by WYNDHAM is stalking, and so is Everhome Suites, so is the airport that's stalking over here under the fake sun. You already know what Southwest Airlines is. The entity's doing so well. 4WNK236 is the amplified noise, while the demon in the Southwest Airlines plane is sharing in surveillance, engaging in a U-turn behind the Everhome Suites venue. Okay, that's P.O.C. And this is harassment by domestic terrorists that are immigrants in this country. And that's the government that's engaging in that. And these are demons that are hostile because they are sex offenders. 9NPX444 included. Okay, that's the pattern of conduct. And this is, again, the government that's engaging in terrorism against American citizens and the government that's engaging in terrorism against American citizens with immigrants like Peter, who don't even like this country while they're engaging in terrorism. And neither does the American government, the state of California, those that are engaging in what is the betrayal of this country and its citizens while they're gang stalking, including with hostile immigrants like Peter. Okay, this is P.O.C. License 9AGE983 is stalking, and I'm going to show you the fake sun right here. This is RAMADA by WYNDHAM at 1841 East G Street, and they're engaged in what is not only sexual violence, violation of privacy, gang stalking as a third-party innkeeper. They're doing so in the name of the government. And RAMADA by WYNDHAM, the state is engaging in what is inhumane with regard to no ordinary sex offense. This is an entity engaging in sexual violence, and then harassment because you are hostile to documentation. Okay, while this license 7TL128, when you're driving outside of the hotel, outside of the building, light is not going to fly inside like that demon that I documented while Peter is stalking in the office with impossible light, and the fake sun is over my head. Okay, the fake sun's over my head right now at what is 11:33 a.m. at 1841 East G Street. This is P.O.C. This is documentation of harassment by the sex offender WYNDHAM and by the third-party employees who are of the status of immigrants while they're engaging in terrorism. And this is, again, reporting to ICE. RAMADA by WYNDHAM engaging in what is hiring terrorists, engaging in terrorism itself as a corrupt establishment, a corrupt business. And the immigrants are sharing the criminal pattern of conduct with the state that is stalking me by commercial planes, stalking me as a population. And this is ongoing terrorism underway in violation of Title 18, Section 2261A, subsections 1 and 2. And this is also a business that's fully exposed to a raid. All right. And this is how the whole prosecution of that state works. They're all exposed to being raided at any time based on the prosecution of that government that's gang stalking through WYNDHAM. Okay. The entity sounding sirens is the entity that's doing so under the fake sun that's not over the OVITT Family Community Library. That's the police, fire, and ambulance engaging in gang stalking with terrorists at RAMADA by WYNDHAM, P.O.C. All right. It is currently, again, 11:34 a.m. Engaging in criminal summoning, license 9JSJ076, and so is Everhome Suites, so is the Sheraton, Chick-fil-A, KFC, and this demon that's crossing path on the sidewalk in front of me, this white male with the ponytail carrying the purse, while the demons of the Ontario Fire Department, that's Michael GERKEN, that's engaged in a sex offensive monitoring while I'm inside of my hotel room. License 4NQH373, and I want to be clear, Peter is monitoring with the fire department. That's a function of the corrupt government in the city of Ontario. And when do they sound their sirens? When they listen to very damning evidence and the repercussions pertaining to gang stalking with the people of the state, like the immigrants of RAMADA by WYNDHAM in Ontario, California. Sounding sirens is incriminating conduct. It's P.O.C. 51757L2, and they're sounding sirens while there's no sun over the Ontario Town Square or OVITT Family Community Library, which is how you know RAMADA by WYNDHAM is engaged in terrorism. And so is this demon engaging in surveillance right at the entrance. License 7CTL128, driving this crusty, broken down Kia, is the demon maintaining presence in the path, stalking with light, and it's accomplished, as I showed you during the day, under the fake sun over me. It's a sex offense as well. License 59967K3, 9EXC036. This is P.O.C. Criminal summoning by the entity that's monitoring. So is the Ontario International Airport. Southwest Airlines flies from behind Everhome Suites. I'm going to go ahead and take a picture of where I'm at. You can look at a Google Maps. The entity that has the fake sun right now is engaging what is monitoring. Yeah, that's a black-faced demon that's monitoring and doing so by engaging as a patron with the third-party facilitating venue. And it's also a sex offender keeping my vagina under surveillance. That's the African-American male driving the crusty Kia 7CTL128, and he's crusty as well. While the entity sounds sirens, just want to be clear, this illusion of racism and this disparate treatment amongst the minority races, the black people are monitoring with the white people in positions of authority amongst the demon-possessed. 8WWA680. This Black Lives Matter nonsense is a joke in California. They're monitoring to it. When they have when they're engaged in organizing, they're gang stalking. They're doing it under the fake sun. 8XCM590, and they do it for disingenuous purposes like making money for a popular cause. 8VDJ861, okay? Like the government gang stalking an American citizen to steal my inheritance, to steal my money and property. That's the type of chicanery they engage in around serious issues like Black Lives Matter, okay? P.O.C. 4JMX641. The entire black population is engaged in gang stalking, and it's not a race issue. It's a spiritual issue. They're demons, and every single last one of the black folks that are in California are engaged in gang stalking, which is demonic. That's why this crusty, dusty, musty demon is out here stalking me with the fire department. 55505A3. And they're doing so with those old white people. 9TAY177. These demons are unified, okay? License 7FYJ874. Where on the surface you would think that they're separate. 9RIT653, and they're not. They're not separate at all. They're targeting me together. All right, all colors of the rainbow, gang stalking the targeted individual together. That is not my brother because he's black, okay? And his mama ain't no kin to me because she's black or whatever she is. They're gang stalking demons, and they're doing so with every other race that fills the city of Ontario, the state of California, and that's criminal summoning, okay? This is P.O.C. going into the office on surveillance cameras, and Peter, an immigrant, is engaging in terrorism. That in and of itself is deportation. I just want to be clear. This is terrorism. It's gang violence by the government. The government's engaged in gang violence. P.O.C. And while I document that and they listen to things such as every business, every home, they're facilitating venues and they're engaged in criminal surveillance, terrorism, and that they're vulnerable to raids, that's exactly the moment when the entity sounds sirens. That's the entity that's monitoring, but that's also the entity that's alarmed. They are fearful of that, and they engage in more criminal activity to their own demise while they admit that they're monitoring as well. 5KBS700. And that's exactly what's going to happen. You're going to be raided. 9TCN253. 4NON 109, and this is an entity, remember the Ontario Fire Department, this rusty, crusty demon in the Kia, RAMADA by WYNDHAM, Peter, they're all monitoring in furtherance of conspiracy to murder. So these demons are acting toward a murder. The fire department is monitoring toward a murder. The Southwest Airlines is monitoring. The airport is engaged in surveillance. Alan D. WAPNER is targeting to commit murder. That's P.O.C, that's civil and criminal prosecution. And this is all happening while the Ontario Police Department is engaged in monitoring with everyone, every function, every neighborhood, everybody that's gang stalking is doing so with the Ontario Police. 9UMY 715, 8YJL 547, P.O.C. It is currently 11:39 a.m. where the fake sun's over me in a manner that is incongruent, impossible to coexist with what I already documented, including the fake sun remaining over me while I'm in places far from here, like in Costa Mesa, like in Las Vegas, checking out of my hotel room at 12:08 p.m. on Dean Martin in Nevada, like I'm in the Best Western in Hesperia, while I'm still living, this is time of year relevance, I'm still living in Los Angeles, Alvarado Gardens, same time, summer, the same exact time. The entity, what LAPD is doing under the fake sun is relevant to what the Ontario Fire Department and the Ontario International Airport and the Ontario Police are doing around me in this same specific environment. And the engineer light in and of itself is a whole other level of speaking to targeting. 9EUH 093. And this demon that's at RAMADA by WYNDHAM engaging in what is harassment as his form for audible activity monitoring. 65294G2, 7MWG931. There's no demon that's, first of all, under what is a privilege to be in this country, 75885D4, and it doesn't include to engage in, first of all, terrorism, terrorism with the government, terrorism with the population, license 9JZE988 and 7LRG366, and let alone to do so and then be hostile because you're being prosecuted. EE88M60. These are sore losers, and they're terrorists in the United States under some false belief that they have a privilege to be here, and that privilege has been revoked. They're gang stalking with homeborn terrorists like 9LZE168. Okay, somebody worthy of deportation, but unfortunately they were probably born here as unwanted as they are. Okay, they're engaging in terrorism with the corrupt government. The only difference with Peter can be dealt with by being deported immediately. License 7CTO128 is driving off in his crusty Kia. Gang stalking and doing so as a population, not leaving relevant positioning. The entities maintaining all their elements. 8VPW936. This is P.O.C. All right, that's the entity that's hostile to being documented. That's the entity that's also hostile while sounding sirens and monitoring as the government acts directly, criminally using what are emergency vehicles to do so. That's not only psychopathic, sick, and demented, it's criminal, but it's also something that demons do out of fear. They start doing the impossible light activity conduct. They start engaging in what is, all of a sudden, there's a whole bunch of traffic stops that while the demons engage in what is criminal summoning all around me. These are acts of, when you pay attention to the bigger picture, they're all reacting to and monitoring me, and it's pathetic. It's while they're all stalking. 8FQX135, but you're prosecuting it, though. 6UAR 776. 6MLT 501. This is the whole apartment building monitoring, stalking. The business of RAMADA by WYNDHAM is engaged in what is keeping me under surveillance. All right, that's P.O.C, and that's, again, a substantial and unprecedented prosecution civilly and criminally of that business. That's engaging in what is hiring terrorists, meaning they're hiring immigrants to engage in terrorism, and RAMADA by WYNDHAM is indeed, in and of itself, the people of the state, and then the immigrants that they're hiring to engage in terrorism. So it's literally the business itself to be reported to I.I.S, 8GOZ299, and the third parties working at this RAMADA by WYNDHAM at 1841 East G Street, reporting to I.I.S, 9MDK195, license 9TNT076, license 8EZP507, stalking as a population, demons that are very much heavily obsessed with me as a population of them stalking me altogether. Okay, while the supernatural remains over my head, and it is the proof that you're a maniacal and a sexually perverted, obsessed psychopath stalking me in the name of the government that's been engaged in stalking and monitoring and conspiring my death. And for doing so, you're talking about what is federal prison, disbanding, removal of people from office, and prosecution of a government. And this is, again, putting Jason Fields in prison, Tracy Banks in prison. This is exactly what they've been engaged in for years, and Jason Fields is still gang stalking me. He's a a sex offender monitoring me inside of this hotel room as an entity. He's a demon engaged in what is spiritually attacking with these demon-possessed gang stalkers under a fake sun and with engineer light. This is all manner of witchcraft, and their spell work doesn't work against me. But he is going to federal prison for this. License 608, 70W1 is gang stalking with Jason Fields. 7XCN 589 is gang stalking with Jason Fields. C. Hazelwood 21167 is gang stalking with Jason Fields. 76946P3 is gang stalking with Jason Fields. 8RQY399 is gang stalking with Jason Fields, and he's going to prison. And so is Southwest Airlines and the Ontario International Airport. Alan D. Wapner, Mike LORENZ targeting me. They're doing so with Jason Fields, and he's going to federal prison. Tracy Banks is already going to federal prison. Jason Fields is going to federal prison. That's the federal government that's engaged in targeting me and never having an investigation. The federal government has been gang stalking me. That's what I'm reporting. That's what this investigation proves. And Jason Fields is going to federal prison. License plate 8SJP6360 7ZNE881 9NIC238. All right, Ravanko and C. Hazelwood engaging in criminal summoning. C. Hazelwood is, again, he's very demented. I just want to give you some insight. They're all demon-possessed, but C. Hazelwood, he has he needs serious mental help. He is a very hostile demon. Again, he's triggered by what he hears on my podcast, which he admitted to having knowledge of. Never said the word podcast to him before. 8ZLW654, he doesn't know what trespass means, but he knows what a podcast is. When I'm holding up my video record on my camera, I'm using video, so you're getting to podcast. That's because he knows about the critique that he's been subject to while he's gang stalking me. Incompetence of corrupt police officers is directly relevant to this investigation, however. 88829K3, 9UBZ036, and not only is it incompetence, it's corruption. It's criminal activity. And Hazelwood, again, badge 21167, is engaged in what is hostile. He's driven up next to me, molesting me with the light, just to engage in what is driving by me and staring deep into my eyes. And he's got demons all over him. He's a psychopath. He's doing so wearing his uniform while that demon wants to just address me and try to engage in bullying me in one way or another. And he's, under all circumstances, engaging in criminal activity. The demons that are stalking me for 11 minutes by helicopter, and then C. Hazelwood 21167 comes in acting like he's engaging in anything other than the pattern of conduct. The demons of the Ontario Police flying in circles over me for an hour at the Ontario Town Square. 8T39056 9AZF500 for an hour at the Ontario Town Square on video. And then Hazelwood, serial number 21167, is encountering me in the same exact specific environment as though he's doing anything other than the pattern of conduct for which he's going to federal prison. The demons of the Ontario Police Department engage in what is stalking me for 20 minutes in circles flying over my head, which I also documented, and doing so as I walk to the OVITT Family Community Library, where, by the way, the fake sun is not over that entrance while it's over at 1841 East G Street, where it's also shown that agency is engaged in the demonic pattern of conduct. And then Hazelwood, serial number 21167, is in my face at 5 o'clock in the morning as though he's engaged in anything other than the criminal pattern of conduct, which is satanic. He's a demon and he is severely mentally disturbed. And this needs to be known about such psychopaths who have no business in law enforcement. They want to have a license so that they can get away with murdering people and a court getting them off for it. All right, supporting and upholding their criminal activity in concert with the people of the state. And this is what Hazelwood 21167 is engaging in while he's engaged in criminal summoning. 9HR 8, 9, I can't really see that one, but the demons of the Ontario Police are gang stalking my driving in the parking lot of the Chick-fil-A right now while they're listening to me critique what is Hazelwood 21167, who's going to federal prison. 6JIM 266 2692 9N3, gang stalking with the Ontario Police who want to come closer to me while they hear me speaking of that agency that is being disbanded. They're being disbanded for the criminal activity of Hazelwood 21167 and every other criminal that was initiated with the Ontario Police Department, and they are going to be disbanded for it. And everybody's stalking under the fake sun, including demons like L. Edwards, Alex Escobar, Corey Watson. They're all going to federal prison, okay? Not for just kidnapping, but for engaging in what is criminal activity and furtherance of psychological torture preceding murder committed as an entity. They're going to federal prison. And they're all doing so with Jason Isaac Fields. He is their co-defendant. This is gang stalking that he solicited, that he relied on, that he wasn't committing while he was lying and defaming my name and character to steal my money and property, which the Ontario Police Department have been compensated with that. They have been engaged in sex crimes. They've been engaged together concealing my status as one that's potentially not even the child of Tracy Banks. She's not even my birth mother. And this is what the government is concealing while committing sex acts against me and gang stalking in order to try to have me killed off. Jason Fields is going to federal prison for it. License 5GAZ276. This is P.O.C. It is currently 11:48 a.m. And that's the Ontario Police Department. That's a criminal organization, a terrorist, not a law enforcement agency. And the incompetence of Hazelwood, number 21167, is direct testimony of it, and it is serving to disband that entire agency, not just put him in prison. And prison is where he's going. That's the fourth encounter I've had with this demon that wants to blow my brains off. He's blow my brains out. He's got a gun on his person. He's a psychopath. He's engaged in gang stalking. He's a demon that then went across the street after he gave me evidence of him gang stalking me, this citation that's irrelevant, and that will put any judge in court and the San Bernardino County Sheriff's Department, they're going to prison while they act on the criminal activity of the Ontario Police Department. That's up front. Not only that, he goes across the street to be a demon and molest me with impossible light, like these demons are under a fake sun. It's a molestation with impossible light activity, especially while they're also pacing all around with planes and in their vehicles under the fake sun and engineer light flying all around the place. This is a sex offense that C. Hazelwood also shares in at nightfall while he goes across the street after issuing a ticket. How many police officers are doing that are not demons who are gang stalking? Because that's what's wrong with him. He goes across the street. He's not filling out paperwork. He could say he was filling out whatever he wants. He was molesting me with impossible light. He's a sex offender, and he's a very hostile demon. And his serial number, again, is 21167, and that entire agency is being disbanded for all the demons that are gang stalking under the name of Ontario Police Department. Those are sex offenders. They're obsessed with my vagina. That's what you need to know about what is wrong with the demons of that agency. They're also obsessed with stalking me. They're obsessed with my thought process. They're obsessed with how I wipe my mouth after I'm done eating. They're obsessed with how many times I chew my food. They're obsessed with how many times I blink. They're demons. 9HRJ884, an agency of them. And Mike Lorenz is of the same condition. They're done with law enforcement and they're being disbanded. And many of them are going to prison. Every one that I documented, every single last one, they're going to federal prison. 07729Y3. Their sentence is for terrorism. You're targeting them, and they're going to federal prison. They're not getting a slap on the wrist. It's not sufficient for them to lose their job. That goes without question. They're going to sit behind bars. They're going to federal prison. 45697G3, and so is Jason Fields. 6WLP136. 9692, I can't really see that one. 7YTU617 15924U3. Amazon Prime gang stalking. 9BMJ 759 7SKU 648. 9BDZ 525, and that's the government acting through all the people of the state of population. That's the inhumane conduct of a sex offense. That's the inhumane level of violation of privacy. That's the inhumane level of harassment that Peter is a part of. And RAMADA by WYNDHAM, I'm going to prosecute for. 9EQA156, because as I'm reading all these license plates, that and more are all together monitoring me inside of my hotel room, violating my privacy together. And so is a corrupt agency wanting to call itself a police department. That's not a police department. That's engaged in stalking and the sex offense of an invasion of privacy as an entity. They're sex offenders and they're being shut down. 9GEZ494, keeping my vagina under surveillance all night inside of this hotel room. And so is Jason Fields, by the way. He's going to prison. 6CWH515, he's a sex offender. All right, this is 11:51 a.m. This is P.O.C. Other relevant details is that the entity that is gang stalking through terrorists like Jason Fields and Tracy Banks, who are doing so as a city while I'm in Ontario, the city of Ontario is engaged in targeting. That's why the fire department, the demons of American Medical Response, the people of the state in Ontario are engaged in gang stalking. Terrorists like Jason Fields, like I documented Tracy Banks, as they come into my presence, it's relevant to the unlawful threat. They have insurance policies out intending to murder me, gang stalking me while doing so in real time with that government in furtherance of murder. That's relevant to their time in prison. And Jason Fields ever coming in, I said it before and I'm going to say it again, it's relevant to the conspiracy to commit murder. Somebody that has insurance on my head and then thinking that you're going to gang stalk me and come in my face and have a conversation, that's a delusional psychopath, and it's relevant to prison. And I'm going to prosecute the federal government for the federal government's threat to my life, coming into my presence when you are betting on what is my death. You're gang stalking and doing so. Just like C. Hazelwood, they make the same foolish mistake. All right, you are conspiring my murder, and then you're in my face like you're a police officer. They're delusional, and the prosecution is already in place. So you are in that position, regardless how much you think that continuing in your role, as though nothing is happening, as though you are legitimate. You're not, and you're going to prison for that impermissible threat, for that intolerable level of mental illness. You're a psychopath. What are you doing coming around me? You're going to prison for that. And this is what the federal government needs to understand. This is a threat that you pose to my life. It's already about by the state of California, which I'm prosecuting you for. There was never an investigation. It's your fault that I'm being gang stalked by the state of California. It starts with you, and it's going to end with the prosecution of the federal government. It's an unprecedented recovery, and I don't need just money. Body's going to prison, just like I'm in a prison now. This is not life. This is not freedom, and I have a right and a human right to not be subject to this. You're going to federal prison. All of you are listening. It's not just Jason Fields. And if this corrupt federal official comes into my presence, understand that it's relevant to the prosecution of the federal government. 9 RBS 263 P.O.C. All right, the entity sounding plane engines, again, doing so all over Ontario. Who's crossing path at the same time? This old grandpa with the entity that's stalking by the Ontario International Airport. That's essentially what is 90 AD 599, while the entity is sounding plane engines. And what are you doing taking off over I thought it was a takeoff over the Ontario Town Square. The entity is engaged in all manner of what is stalking with planes, in other words, and they're doing so while they're listening. I just want to be clear, the federal government is, this is going to be a part of the prosecution and the exposure of the corruption in the U.S. And as I'm documenting and as I'm maintaining this public investigation, your response is that which is also occurring while the gang stalking is underway. And so the federal government engaging in more real-time criminal activity, meaning planes are taking off, sirens are going off, police are gang stalking in your face, the people of the state engage in that P.O.C. while the federal government is being addressed, including while 8XPF 520 is gang stalking on your behalf. On your behalf. You're the one that's conspired my murder. You're the one that gave this incompetent psychopath Jason Fields the ability to lie as though he's engaged in some investigation. This psychopath, if you are not restraining your own demons, I suggest you do, because you will be going to federal prison, and you will find out who you are if you are delusional enough to not understand that you're going to be locked up. You're going to be locked up. This is an investigation of the U.S. government. The U.S. government that's acting through the state of California. The state of California that's targeting me in Ontario, California. And the entity is doing so with impunity. The federal government's impunity through these welfare recipients that are gang stalking, driving a little bucket, doing so with a business that's going to be prosecuted, doing so with the government that's going to be prosecuted, doing so with her family, the entity that's going to be deported is doing so on behalf of the state, doing so with, her son is in the Army while she's with no license plates on the vehicle, okay? That's the entity that acts with that knowledge that they're being documented, okay? That's P.O.C. Doing so while they are aware of the fact that there's no coincidence there. And that's the government that's, again, engaging in that P.O.C. With that level of impunity that's also legally relevant as well. All right, so I'm going to document this demon that's, again, proud of their son being in the Army. That's a demon, and a gang stalker, a terrorist that's in the Army, and their gang stalking mother is a part of that criminal pattern of conduct while they're engaging in that P.O.C. This is RAMADA by WYNDHAM that's engaging in terrorism. And doing so, again, I want to be clear with Peter. This is Peter and RAMADA that's engaged in terrorism. Excuse me? Excuse me. This is an entity that's engaged in that. Just want you to see her license plates. Here we go. All right, documenting the people of the state by license plate and also documenting the people of the state by businesses. So just want to be clear. I don't need a license plate. I document license plates when the entity is engaging in the pattern of conduct in order to personally identify. License 9 REM 517 is gang stalking with this demon that's with no license plates on their vehicle, in custody of a minor child, gang stalking with Peter in the office, doing so under the fake sun. Remember, it's still here after 5 p.m. in alignment with my hotel room, and it's over the top of my head right now. And with knowledge that you're being documented, just like Peter, the harassment by Peter is based on knowledge, and you also have that knowledge imputed to you while the government's stalking me at your establishment. 718-70T2. This is the P.O.C. All right, and this is the demon talking about, not talking about, but engaging in that pattern of conduct with the state and blasting their music. That's audible activity, just like the Route 66 show, and the entities engaged in what is the same exact pattern of conduct of the music. The event itself is the ongoing elements of monitoring. The entity is creating what is a light show, and what do you see? The fake sun at the food festival. The fake sun's in alignment to me while everybody's monitoring me, and they're all engaging in what is holding an event, looking at cars, and they're not even interested. This was so pathetic about the dead. I heart JM. That's not a license plate. That's what's so pathetic about the dead. They're not even there about the event. It's all about me. It literally is, and that's pathetic. 31202V3, 6CNR358, 9GXF363, 8TCF478. These are the demons gang stalking at RAMADA by WYNDHAM with the business, with the people of the state, as sex offenders staying at the venue as well, 76465U1. They're targeting with the airport. This is in furtherance of psychological torture and in furtherance of the conspiracy to commit murder. All right. License ISHAS FJ. Isha SFJ. ISHASFJ is that license plate. All right, these are the demons parked at RAMADA by WYNDHAM. And I want to be clear, they all represent what is a threat because it's numerosity when you're calculating the harms inflicted by the federal government, including corrupt officials like Jason Isaac Fields, who's going to prison. 4RXB481, 5VNX224, 8UFX278. Jason Fields monitoring with the scores of demons that are gang stalking me. He's going to prison. And you're not going to have some insurance policy on me, conspiring my murder, defaming my character, gang stalking me and relying on the defamation of the Ontario Police Department, who are still stalking me obsessively and doing so, which is what C. Hazelwood and Ravanco represent, an unlawful threat to my life while they're bearing weapons, engaging in that P.O.C. And they're doing so while I am in real time publishing evidence, speaking to their obsession, speaking to their delusion. 9NPX444. All right, and this is the entity. Jason Fields is going to federal prison for that. He's going to federal prison. There's not going to be any sort of investigation underway when you're gang stalking me. This is what's going on when he's defaming my character in court about property that he knows about and I don't know about. How does that even happen? Because his conspiracy, his co-defendant, his co-conspirator is Tracy Banks, who he's been having sex with, my 60-plus-year-old so-called mother, who is very well not my birth mother and has been interested in murdering me since I was a child in order to take my property, which I was due years ago. And the state of California has been stealing millions of dollars from me, stealing all of my money. And while I am an attorney practicing law and I can't work peacefully with any law firm and making me feel like it's my fault, what am I doing wrong? The entity is targeting me in the workplace. And then when I start documenting it, that's when they pull out the helicopters and they're trying to ruin my professional career. Everybody in my personal life is engaged in gang stalking. That is ruining your personal life. And they're also engaged in what is inevitable impoverishment. This is, again, I can't go to work without being gang stalked, which you also witnessed by LAPD as I'm a property manager in Los Angeles, where the entity is gang stalking in the workplace. And then the entity is engaged in what is seeking to defame me by your criminal conduct against me. No, it's not that I can't take care of myself and hold a job. It's that you're gang stalking me on the job. And since you engaged in that high level of malice, using that to try to use a fake conservatorship to then falsely depict my character when you're the one that's targeting me at work, you're going to prison, and so is Jason Fields. Understand how they were using that system while they also have things like insurance policies on me, hoping that both their witchcraft and gang stalking and psychologically torturing, like the Ontario Police and the people of the state are, is going to result in my demise so that they can murder me and state that it was a drug overdose and state that it's some John, since I'm a prostitute, is the one that killed me. I just disappeared because I'm so erratic and I'm so unstable and I always disappear. No one's ever going to know. And she's probably just going to come up dead and no one's going to miss me while they walk away with my money. This is what Jason Isaac Fields conspired, okay? 4VNZ086, and he's going to federal prison. Coming into my presence is as threatening as any other demon-possessed gang stalker of the Ontario Police Department. He's going to federal prison, all right? And this is a demon that's very much delusional. Like I said, he's a demon. He's engaged in witchcraft. He is engaged in what is spiritually attacking me as though he's going to force something to happen, transpire between us, and it's not going to happen. I'm going to document it, just like I document Tracy Banks threatening my life by coming into my presence. All right, she's doing so while she's gang stalking. You can see in the images that I took the other morning as I am at 415 North Euclid Avenue where that fake sun is rising. And that's where C. Hazelwood, a demon that was molesting me with light. This is that pattern of conduct by the police and the people of the state. And that's a threat to my life. And I document, and that's exactly what I will document with regard to putting both of them in federal prison. Both of them. They are acting together and they have been engaged in targeting me together. And they are targeting me with the millions of people that I'm documenting. Jason Fields is going to prison for it. Okay, license 7CSW754. This is P.O.C. That's an intolerable level of a threat by a corrupt government actor. The police that are following me around, these are psychopaths sitting around holding an event, and they think that that's going to hide the fact that they're gang stalking me. No, it's not, and everybody sees how freaking crazy you are. Jason Fields is going to federal prison for that. That's a system that is designed to accomplish your murder. License 8UDX617. None of this is traffic. The fake sun is over me. How was the sun over the Ontario Town Square? How was the sun over my hotel room at Economy Inn? Over the whole property, it's over Economy Inn, which is by the 60 freeway. I'm adjacent to the 10 freeway over here, where the entity has the fake sun over me as I walk down the street. It's no longer over 1841 East G Street. These are demons who are stalking. Jason Fields is going to federal prison for that. This is why they gang stalk you in order to steal. You thought you were going to get my money and property. You thought that you were going to cash in on an insurance policy on me after I was dead, and you did so with the police that are repeatedly kidnapping me and engaging in criminal summoning like Hazelwood, and they don't have authority under the law because they're engaged in surveillance. And they are still, while they're looking at the evidence of that, they engage in more targeting. You're going to prison. They're going to prison, but you're going to prison. That's Jason Isaac Fields. You're going to federal prison. 45136G3. Impossible Light in front of this demon driving this truck. Domestic Rail Solutions. That truck is audible activity, light activity, and impossible light activity, okay? That's P.O.C. Monitoring with In-N-Out, KFC, Sheraton, Chick-fil-A, Everhome Suites. These are corrupt businesses engaged in surveillance in the United States. That's what you need to know. And that's what's coming out while the government sought to put a contract out on my life, helping Tracy Banks steal my property. And they all sought to share a stake in that. And it's actually the exact opposite, exposing to you what you need to know, that the government's engaged in surveillance. The government knows who you are, knows who all of us are, knows what your spiritual gifts are as well. And they target you, especially as it becomes something that's threatening to demons that don't want to be exposed. Demons whose conduct that they think nobody sees, they don't want that to be identified. They know exactly the threat that I pose with regard to what I would never participate in. You're not recruiting me. I'm not working with no demon. I'm not working for Satan. I would never be a part of this. These demons that have sex by the dozens with each other, 8XHP487, and then sharing their HIV status with everybody. That's what Tracy Banks and Jason Isaac Fields have done. Okay, and then defaming my character, spreading around AIDS. Okay, and then defaming my character, accusing me of what they did. And by the way, I want to be clear, your sexual activity is not under the Constitution. It's not even relevant to trying to take somebody's property. The entity is just engaged in what is gossip. Gossip. Hearsay is what is called in a courtroom. Hearsay that the entity that's gang stalking me intentionally relied on hearsay that is false. Okay, because hearsay could be truthful. It's just that it's hearsay and it has to go through a legal process in order to be admitted into court. It's not even true hearsay, and it's inherently unreliable. And that was relied upon in my absence, pertaining to property that nobody told me about, that the government knows belongs to me, and the government knows who I am, and the government's been targeting me thanks to what is this demon Tracy Banks, who's not even my birth mother. She's the one that's invested in my death, and she thought that she was going to take over. She's just going to look 20 years younger and look like me and say her name is Erica Spencer and the P.O.C. is her creation, and she's the one that knows all this information about the government, and she's the one that's going to inform you. She's a demon. And so is her sex offending partner, Jason Isaac Fields. And both of them together thought that they were going to cash in on my death, and then they were going to be together. This is how sick they are. They were going to be together, and she was going to be his wife, and she's going to be me. And they were going to profit off of that. My money, my property, my intellectual property, all of that which comes with that, and they were going to assume that together, and the government benefiting off of that because the government's engaged in targeting. 9G50F53. 9TPA269. Understand, these people, the demons, 9UVY403, engaged in taking out PPP loans in my name. I don't even know these demons. It's surveillance. Surveillance is what's underway. They're not strangers. We're under surveillance in the United States. Engaging in what is stalking with impossible light, you're targeting me, and you're a psychopath looking the opposite direction while light is shooting off your car like a laser. You're a demon. This is surveillance. They know who you are. Even the fake sun documentation shows that. It shows how everybody inside of Quality Inn knows who I am. Everybody inside of Denny's is also there with knowledge of who I am so that they can be in the path. They not only know who I am, they want to be in my path. They're obsessed with stalking me. It's Satan's version of what is a twisted type of fan. A fan that is obsessed with you, but they also want to kill you. They want to walk in your skin and replace you. They can never do that, though. But that's what's wrong with them. They're mentally ill. And this is pursuant to what is revealing surveillance. The fire department, the police department, the airport. This is so pathetic. The entity is acting like they're taking off at the convention center now. Remember, they're doing that at the 280 North Lehman Apartments. So it's already established what the Ontario International Airport is doing. There's no flight from Southwest Airlines that's going to occur hovering over the Ontario Town Square when they're acting as though you're rising in elevation. So you are hovering miles northwest to then be over the Ontario Town Square as Southwest Airlines is engaged in. all right, as I'm documenting. And they're doing the same thing in Los Angeles, hovering over me while LAPD is gang stalking and the fake sun is remaining over my head. This is an entity that's engaged in surveillance, and surveillance is occurring under the name of companies that you identify. And in the United States, the entity that is obsessed with money is going to be prosecuted, and they're going to lose all their money because these corrupt companies are engaged in targeting and furtherance of murder, engaged in psychological torture, and I'm going to civilly and criminally prosecute them for acting in furtherance of trying to murder me and keeping me under surveillance. 8M24296. That's what Southwest Airlines has, and Southwest Airlines is providing evidence about what every other airline is doing. All right, but not only that, I have evidence against the entirety of the airport. There's no sun that's going to be over the Ontario International Airport at any point in the day, and that's exactly what I have. The fake sun is over the airport. That's in the specific environment where you're keeping me under surveillance and I'm going to prosecute. And that airport is a threat to the national security. So what is the inevitable implication regarding how you're prosecuting and protecting the public is shutting that airport down. You're going to shut it down just like you're shutting down that corrupt agency that's actually a terrorist organization. They're not even engaged in law enforcement. They're a part of the problem. And you're going to remove that problem by disbanding the Ontario Police. They clearly don't even need an airport. They don't need a police department. They're engaged in surveillance. This is breaking down that whole system. It's exposing it and breaking it all the way down. And based on justice as well. This is what you did with that police department? Oh, no, they're being disbanded. This is what you're doing with that airport? Oh, okay, yeah, no, you're going to remove that. They're clearly into just criminal conduct while they maintain the business through a small fraction of the people that are being paid. Understand how much money is wasted there as well to maintain the business of the airport, and they're engaged in actual surveillance. That's the whole point of the Ontario International Airport, is surveillance. And it's going to be removed. While, by the way, the city of Ontario has been trying to build itself up, build up its reputation, make itself more appealing. I just want to be clear, domestic terrorism, conspiracy to murder, criminal surveillance is the worst for the reputation of Ontario. It's going to be the exact opposite. It's losing everything. The airport, the police department, the fire department, it's all being shut down. This is P.O.C, and this is upon exposing organized crime amongst the corrupt government. The state of California, there's a bigger picture as well, but Ontario, it's not going to grow. It's not getting bigger. It's going to disintegrate. Everything that they built on the backs of the American citizens that they targeted, that they murdered. And you're losing those businesses. You're losing whatever you think you're going to build. And we're rebuilding this, and we're going to add that. And you're not doing none of that. The police department's being removed. The airport, yeah, that's being removed. It's a criminal activity. It's a federal RICO case. It's an elaborate, far-reaching RICO case. You're not keeping any of it. It's not happening. And thank you for giving me a wealth of evidence after I already proved my case, and all you're doing is walking in alignment to it. That's exactly what justice requires. It's going to be shut all the way down. It's currently 12:11 p.m. The fake sun is moving over my head as I'm walking south on Vineyard, where demons are stalking me as a population as I go. License 9SNB739, license 8SEK860, 8ATB677. The corrupt business, the Ontario Airport Center Executive Suites, those demons are engaged in criminal surveillance. Every business in the state of California is engaged in surveillance. And they are engaged in surveillance as an entity, conspiring, targeting one person that they are together seeking to murder. License 9T Mary Berry 341. Gang stalking Latino on a cell phone, stalking in the path, fake sun is over me. Looking to go inside of the building of the Ontario Airport Center Executive Suite. He's gang stalking and doing so. 8JUX177. The Motel 6 on Vineyard at 231 Vineyard Avenue, gang stalking. There's no sun. That's over the 111 North Vineyard Avenue Starbucks, however. That's what you'll pay attention to. It's remaining over me while I am at the this end of Ontario. But when I am remaining on what is the Ontario Town Square, when I'm remaining at the ARCO at 434 North Euclid Avenue, where the fake sun is still there in the evening, it's never coming up toward Vineyard Avenue. And as I'm documenting in 2022, the fake sun is over my head at this Starbucks over. This is the entity that's fully exposed. And so while you're adding plane activity, while you're adding police this is your own, but you've exposed yourself. The entity is stalking me at the Motel 6 in August of 2021 after this same entity, including Motel 6, committed kidnapping with the entity that is the Ontario Police. And they're gang stalking now.
at 12:12 in the afternoon when the fake sun's over my head in the presence of a third-party corrupt actor. Motel 6 is engaged in surveillance. And Motel 6 is engaged in surveillance in furtherance of trying to commit murder as an entity. That's why they're helping and engaging in that pattern of conduct. Remember, the fake sun's not just over me at the business or wherever I'm at. The demons at that establishment that are both there as an employee, or they're there while they live there, or they're there while they are engaging in what is activity creation. They're facilitating that conduct. The demons of Michael Gerken, who's being removed from office, is gang stalking while the fake sun is over my head. You'll see them crossing paths, and that's the third time that they did that. Remember what they're doing when I'm at the Ontario Town Square on what is Euclid Avenue, when the fake sun's over the 224 North Euclid Avenue, and they're sounding their sirens. They're gang stalking me then as well. They're stalking, and they're demons that do that under a fake sun. That's P.O.C. That's called criminal summoning. 8KYM233 is engaged in that. K9MODE is engaged in that. 5ZGY625, Motel 6 at 231 North Vineyard Avenue is engaged in that. The Doubletree Hotel, this demon's engaged in surveillance in his car, engineer light in the shade. License EG57U60 is engaged in that. Gang stalking with the Ontario Fire Department, that is engaging in that while the demons of the Ontario International Airport are stalking in the path. Okay, Impossible Light, while this demon license 13162R1 is crossing path. And let me give you the license plate of this demon that has engineer light dragging across the wall while the demons sound sirens, take off in alignment to me where I'm at on Vineyard, and demons are patrolling to that surrounding activity. This psychopath that's engaging in surveillance with the state. Okay, another crusty demon, 7ZTL310. This is a Toyota. Impossible Light, this is a fathead demon. This is a Latino male engaging in what is the terrorism stalk with Impossible Light at Motel 6. And Impossible Light is going to be all, I'm going to show you this as well. Impossible Light is all in front. Doing so while Impossible Light moves all across the wall, and I'll show you the fake sun. This is 231 Vineyard Avenue, Motel 6, that's gang stalking. Okay, this is P.O.C. This is again at what is 12:13 p.m. 12:14 p.m. That's the fire department, that's the state acting with the airport, that's the state while they're crossing path, and the planes are again taking off right in front of where I'm standing as I'm walking on Vineyard Avenue. All right, and doing so while they are, while the entity is sounding sirens and while a demon is crossing path, meaning driving by an engineer light sweeping all across the building like I've shown you. That's the entity acting together. These are demons engaging in surveillance. And Jason Eisenfield is going to federal prison. This is what they summoned for me to be surrounded by, doing so with the government, all right? That's acting in concert with people that are formerly had a position in my personal life. So this is, again, how instrumental terrorists like Jason Eisenfield are, how instrumental terrorists and kidnappers like Tracy Banks, they are serial killers. They've murdered people in order to remove what is the threat against my wealth that they sought to steal. They've murdered them in order to engage in what is keeping their filthy hands on my money while gang stalking me the whole time. Tracy Banks fully engaged, fully complicit to the government, engaging in what is this, again, unlawful and inhumane experiment on me, engaging in what is permitting and exposing me to sex trafficking by the government. That's gang stalking me. She's fully a part of that, profiting from it. She's not, again, a mother. She's engaged in what is also, for all intents and purposes, very likely a hidden adoption. And this is also relevant to how she is so cold-blooded. And not, actually, it doesn't even matter. That's not an excuse, because even if it wasn't my child, I would never do that against any child. She's just a psychopath. She's a serial killer, and she's a pedophile, and so is the state of California. Okay, this is P.O.C. The demons that are crossing path. This is African American male, license plate 9EOF032 and license 9FIW082. All right, the entity is engaged in taking off right here over the Starbucks at 111 North, the Ontario Airport Plaza. License plate 9KTS401. You already know the entity kept the fake sun at this Starbucks, as I documented, until after 6 p.m. This entire plaza is gang stalking. 8BLK583, that's a demon. License 8MNJ198, that's a demon. These are homosexuals also that are obsessed with me. Stalking is evidence of that. But they're also homosexuals that engage in what is obsessing over your vagina. It's the same with the males, but I'm exposing the demon-possessed female. They're all homosexual women that engage in predatory conduct. And that is, again, Tracy Banks as well. She's an incestuous psychopath and a violent sex offender, a predator that welcomes sexual violence as it's underway. Excuse me, that's underway as the entities engaging in monitoring me, obsessing over me, and physically indisposed state in private areas and private spaces. That's the sex offender that's that obsessed with me. Okay, and that's the demon possessed that are gang stalking, flying commercial planes and doing so. And that's the entity, again, the fire department, gang stalking. That's, again, the airport, gang stalking, the entity that's sounding a horn, that's for purposes of monitoring me, because I made a turn in the direction that I'm walking. That's monitoring. I said this is not traffic, and that's what I mean. It's not traffic, it's surveillance. All right, it's currently, I just want to be clear, this is all relevant to the entity that's going to be one police department, and actually it's not necessarily only the Ontario Police that are being disbanded. That's not true. The Ontario Police are definitely being disbanded, but the entity is engaged in criminal conduct, and let me show you the Ontario Police that are going to be disbanded. Okay, this is P.O.C. Alrighty, this is Ontario Police gang stalking, doing so by helicopter. There they are right there. The entity is engaged in while I'm on my podcast, and the Ontario Fire Department is sounding their sirens while the fake sun's over the top of my head, walking south on Vineyard Avenue, while the Ontario International Airport is feigning taking off right here, like they're taking off right here as I'm walking on Vineyard Avenue. This is where the entity is stalking. Remember when I am at Economy Inn and the Ontario International Airport is flying over my hotel room, over my head, and who's flying in a circle in relevant position? The Ontario Police Department. That's exactly what they're doing now, and they're doing so in the engineered environment, and who is being targeted is proven by the supernatural, which is the fake sun that's over my head. Okay, that's the entity, the city of Ontario, the state of California, that's gang stalking, and those are the demons. Again, C. Hazelwood is the agency that's targeting me. Number 21167, he's going to federal prison, and so is Ravanko, engaging in criminal summoning, which is a malicious iteration of the same criminal pattern of conduct of surveillance. And that citation is relevant evidence to put him in prison, and this is disbanding this agency that's engaged in surveillance, not policing. This is not law enforcement. It is gang stalking in concert with the demons of Omnitrans. The sun's not remaining in the window of that vehicle that's relevant to the company that's keeping me under surveillance. It's remaining over me, while the demons of the Ontario Police Department are engaging in what is surveillance, stalking in the path, and engaging in this psychopathic conduct, while the entity is stalking with planes. The entity is stalking me with the fire department, demons driving around in ambulances while a fake sun remains over my head. GM is monitoring. Starbucks is monitoring because the fake sun, remember, as I'm here, it stays here until after 6 p.m. The entity is going to move the fake sun. It's going to be in the window of Omnitrans as I get on Hope Boulevard. This is the entity that is gang stalking, and that's the Ontario Police that are being disbanded. They're monitoring the entire time. They're monitoring inside of my hotel room at 1841 East G Street. They're monitoring while the people of the state are targeting, including the harassment by this immigrant, Peter, who was unworthy and unfit to remain in this country as a terrorist, and his whole family that are managing RAMADA by WYNDHAM, which is also a terrorist, hiring immigrants to engage in terrorism, and RAMADA by WYNDHAM is engaging in terrorism. And this is relevant to I.I.S, that has jurisdiction to raid every business, raid every facilitating venue where the people of the state live and where they work, where they're engaging in gang stalking, which is gang violence. It's terrorism by the state in concert with the demon-possessed and corrupt agencies like the Ontario Police Department, who are also being disbanded as a matter of justice. Recall my documentation when I am at the Circle K across the street, and I was reminding you about my documentation at the Starbucks. The entity had the fake sun over the top of my head across the street at 10 o'clock in the morning. All right, this is the pattern of conduct. The entity is going to engage in a grand departure. There's no sun over the OVITT Family Community Library, and what is tying that together is that the Ontario Police are stalking me in that ongoing maintenance of that environment. And the Ontario Police is stalking with all of the people of the state. They're all stalking. This is surveillance at the traffic lights. It's all the elements of monitoring while they're on the roads and the highways. It's federal stalking under Title 18. It is currently 12:21 p.m., and this is P.O.C. This is 101 Vineyard Avenue. This is a demon that's monitoring on a communication device and is a sex offender keeping my vagina under surveillance. The inhumane level of sexual violence, 9 MOA 796. That's the entity. This is P.O.C. This is P.O.C. Alrighty, capturing that video. All right, that's a visual regarding the ongoing pattern of conduct. All right, this is what you'll always see, the entity engaging with flying in circles around me. They fly in circles over the top of my head. They fly in circles outside of my living room window in Los Angeles. They fly in circles outside of my bedroom window in Los Angeles. They fly in circles over the top of my apartment, which is over my head. They fly in circles beside me. What will you see? The fake sun over the top of my head, and that's letting you know who they are targeting with regard to psychopathic pacing. License 9URM614. This is a demon, a Latino male in particular, that's gang stalking, doing so at the corrupt business of the GM Quick Mart, while the Ontario Police are gang stalking through the maintenance of presence in the path, and it's a RICO business against businesses like GM Quick Mart at 101 North Vineyard Avenue. Okay, P.O.C. It's also impunity while the entity is engaging in terrorism, like you see. In doing so now when it's not a secret and the entity is engaged in that ongoing maintenance, and that's not evidence that you're not under surveillance, it's evidence of mental illness. A demon-possessed, gang-stalking so-called veteran, this is a skinhead is what it looks like, an enemy of the United States actually, V77324, a New Hampshire plate, gang-stalking with the Ontario Police Department, that are hostile to actual law and order, that are hostile to being exposed as demons, which is mental illness, sexual violence, criminal activity, corruption of a demonic nature in particular, and also specifically crossing paths with that type of demon in order to make some sort of failed statement, because many of the demons that are in the military are gang-stalking terrorists. I've documented them. That's what the Ontario Police Department represent, gang-stalking terrorists that hate this country, that are supposed to be law enforcement. That's exactly what that skinhead driving that vehicle with that license plate claiming what is a veteran, and he is an embarrassment and a shame to those that have actually given their lives, and they were not Satan-serving hypocrites, okay? You are a gang-stalking psychopath regardless of what's on your license plate. They're engaging in that conduct, and this is, again, demons hiding behind labels that I'm exposing. This is P.O.C. It is currently 12:23 p.m., and that's for you to know. Okay, the Marines are gang stalking, and I documented them targeting me. They're demons. The Army, gang stalking, terrorists. That's what that is. While they're at the same time claiming to be serving this country. And this is letting you know when they're monitoring American citizens, targeting American citizens, what they're doing abroad. And what they're doing abroad, they're also going to lie about in the same way that they lie to us about what they're actually doing here. Not telling us that they're keeping us under surveillance. Not telling you that they're keeping your children's genitalia under surveillance. That they're aware of any spiritual gifts that your children have, that they're spiritually attacking them, and that they're setting up your life circumstances and your children's life circumstances so that they can keep you in that position and harm you in ways that you're ignorant about. And you're just thinking, oh, you just have a series of unfortunate events, or, you know, you're just unlucky, or it's just, you know, not your time, and you're being targeted in the U.S. You're being targeted, okay? And I'm not talking to delusional people. I'm not talking to demons that don't even recognize the fact that they're lost. I'm talking to those, and Christ Jesus knows who you are, and those of you who are supposed to get this message, you will hear it. Okay, you are subject to what is targeting, and Satan knows who you are. Satan knows who you are that don't serve him. Satan knows who you are that don't fit in amongst the lost, amongst the living dead. And they call themselves veterans. They call themselves police officers. They call themselves mother and fathers. They call themselves like upright stand there, and they know that they're not actually. These are demons that are walking around in costumes, and the reason why they're angry with me and also obsessed with me is because I see through that, and I also speak 100% truth about it. Okay, it's currently 12:25 p.m. That's a terrorist. And you want to expose the fact that veterans are engaging in terrorism, be my guest, you're not the first one. That's a skinhead. Okay, that's a demon that's engaging in what is federal group stalking and monitoring. And very much likely also a racist. But that's just another spirit. All right, it's not integral regarding the prosecution of the state of California. He's gang stalking under all circumstances. License plate 9UAR988. This is P.O.C. It's currently 12:25 p.m.
Erica Lorraine Spencer here. The following is an audio version of video evidence that is captured for purposes of mass distribution, which is why I am capturing it and sharing it on the podcast for evidentiary purposes, and also to reveal the wealth of documentation that extends beyond what it is that I document on podcasts. Much of the video and images will be published onto the YouTube channel, the P.O.C., and it is also shared on the Google Drive. Again, this is for purposes of revealing what I remain subject to, which is federal group stalking and monitoring. It is a demonic system of state surveillance that the government is practicing in concert with the people of the state, and it should be known and well understood that for the government to engage in federal group stalking and monitoring, this is a crime that is committed with a criminal purpose to threaten the life of an American citizen. This is to conspire to murder and or permanently kidnap an American citizen while engaging in a perpetual sex offense in concert with the people of the state.
Alrighty, this is Ontario Police gang stalking, doing so by helicopter. There they are right there. The entity is engaged in while I'm on my podcast, and the Ontario Fire Department is sounding their sirens while the Fixin's over the top of my head, walking south on Vineyard Avenue, while the Ontario International Airport is feigning take right here. right here, like they're taking off right here as I'm walking on Vineyard Avenue. This is where the entity is stalking. Remember when I am at Economy Inn and the Ontario International Airport is flying over my hotel room, over my head, and who's flying in a circle in relevant position? The Ontario Police Department. That's exactly what they're doing now, and they're doing so in the engineered environment, and who is being targeted is proven by the supernatural, which is the fake sun that's over my head. Okay, that's the entity, the city of Ontario, the state of California, that's gang stalking. And C. Hazelwood is the agency that's targeting me. Number 21167, he's going to federal prison, and so is Ravanco, engaging in criminal summoning, which is a malicious iteration of the same criminal pattern of conduct of surveillance. And that citation is relevant evidence to put him in prison, and this is disbanding this agency that's engaged in surveillance, not policing. This is not law enforcement. Talking in concert with the demons of Omnitrans. The sun's not remaining in the window of that vehicle that's relevant to the company that's keeping me under surveillance. Is remaining over me while the demons of the department are engaging in what is surveillance, stalking in the path, and engaging in this psychopathic conduct, while the entity is stalking with planes. The entity is stalking me with the fire department, demons driving around. All fake sun remains over my head. GM is monitoring. Starbucks is monitoring because the fake sun, remember, as I'm here, it stays here until after 6 p.m. The entity is going to move the fake sun. It's going to be in the window of Omnitrans as I get on Hope Boulevard. This is the entity that is gang stalking, and that's the Ontario Police that are. They're monitoring the entire time. They're monitoring in hotel room at 1841 East G Street. They're monitoring while the people of the state are targeting, including the harassment by this immigrant, Peter, who was unworthy and unfit to remain in this country as a terrorist, and his whole family that are managing RAMADA by WYNDHAM, which is also a terrorist, hiring immigrants to engage in terrorism, and RAMADA by WYNDHAM is engaging in terrorism. And this is relevant to I.I.S. that has jurisdiction to raid every business, raid every facilitating venue where the people of the state live and where they work, where they're engaging in gang stalking, which is gang violence. It's terrorism by the state in concert with the demon-possessed and corrupt agencies like the Ontario Police Department, who are also being disbanded as a matter of justice. Recall my documentation when I am at the Circle K across the street, and I was reminding you about my documentation at the Starbucks. The entity had the fake sun over the top of my head across the street at 10 o'clock in the morning. All right, this is the pattern of conduct. The entity is going to engage in a grand departure. There's no sun over the OVITT Family Community Library, and what is tying that together is that the Ontario Police are stalking me in that ongoing maintenance of that environment. And the Ontario Police is stalking with all of the people of the state. They're all stalking. This is surveillance at the traffic lights. It's all the elements of monitoring while they're on the roads and the highways. It's federal stalking under Title 18. It is currently 12:21 p.m. and this is P.O.C. This is 101 Vineyard Avenue. This is a demon that's monitoring on a communication device and is a sex offender keeping my vagina under surveillance. The inhumane level of sexual violence, 9 MOA 796. That's the entity. This is P.O.C. This is P.O.C. Like I stated was the case, that is exactly it. C. Hazelwood and Ravanco are going to prison. They're gang stalking. There's no coincidence. The entity has the fake sun no longer over the gas station, and then you fly over like the Ontario Police Department is doing everywhere that I go. Okay, flying over the top of my as demons who are hostile while they're being exposed, monitoring with the skinhead filling up his gas tank. That is, again, an enemy of the United States making a statement. Not a statement. The statement is what is legally relevant in federal court. That C. Hazelwood, serial number 21167, and Ravanco, who are engaged in what is criminal summoning. Police are engaged in what is actually terrorism and psychological torture and furtherance of murder with demons like Tracy Banks and Jason Isaac Fields, who are engaged in trying to conceal that I'm adopted, conceal my wealth that this government has stolen, conceal sex crimes that this agency and the demons of San Bernardino County Sheriff's Department, corrupt law enforcement agencies have committed against an adopted child who has wealth that this government stole and is engaged in gang stalking, trying to conceal that, trying to commit a murder. That's what's relevant to the hallmark of stalking, and a helic proven to be stalking while the fake sun is remaining over me, which is the hallmark. The entity engages in that at a distance. That's not a coincidence, ladies and gentlemen. The fake sun's over me at this gas station. I walk over to the bus stop. The demon flies right over the top of my head, listening to everything that I'm stating. 9 PML 337 is engaged in surveillance. That's audible activity. 8 DQT 909 is engaged in surveillance. The entity is doing this at 10 o'clock in the morning when I'm right here at the Circle K. And the demons that are triggered, they're psychopaths that can't control themselves, and they provide a body of evidence to put terrorists like Ravanco and Hazelwood. Serial number 21167, he's going to federal prison. In any court entertaining that fake citation pursuant to criminal activity, you're going to federal prison already. You're going to federal prison. Lisa Rogan's going to federal prison. Kara Hudson's going to federal prison. Everybody engaged in what is an exercise of fictitious authority pursuant to criminal surveillance that the Ontario Police is engaging in, get ready to go to prison. There's already a list of judges. You can look at my YouTube channel. You can look at X, because they're all going to federal prison that entertain the criminal conduct of the Ontario Police. This is not a veteran. That's a terrorist. License V77324, a skinhead, gang stalking demon with the Ontario Police Department. And the entity is engaging in what is a documented act of retaliation while I document a terrorist that wants to be treated as a veteran. You're not a veteran. That has an actual term, an actual relevance regarding what is sacred in this country. You're a terrorist and you're hiding amongst a population of corrupt actors by being in the military. That's the whole point of being a terrorist and being in law enforcement. All right, they're domestic enemies. This is P.O.C. That's the entity that's going to be disbanded, and that's the entity Alex Escobar, L Martinez, C Torres, L Edwards, A Casada, B Hook Nathan Morgan, Owens, C Hazelwood. They're all going to federal prison. They're all going to federal prison. This is P.O.C. It is currently, by the way, 12:29 p.m. Where are they flying? Where the fake sun is over my head and flying over me, over my head at the bus stop. How many video documentation, how much evidence do I have of that same agency doing that all over the city of Ontario in a specific environment? And then with a straight face, that's speaking to a psychopath that issues a citation while you're stalking me, you're going to prison, federal prison, and they are being disbanded. And any sheriff's department claiming that, and they're not sheriff's departments, but any demon claiming to be a part of a sheriff, a warrant for what is criminal activity, which is not going to be, any court entertaining that, you're going to federal prison as well. This is P.O.C. All right, stalking, doing the bidding of the same Ontario Police Department. Latino male, driving license 9 TIY 463, and here's another hefty Latino driving what is a vehicle perhaps on loan, 9 EBY 757. He's got a piece of paper on the front windshield, but that's why I stated that, but it's likely, that's the license plate on that vehicle rather. Whatever the status is, he's got a piece of paper on it as though it come from a dealership, but it's also a dirty car. So anyway, that's the license plate on that vehicle. They're engaged in the bidding of the Ontario Police. They're maintaining activity while they drive by, walk by. That's monitoring conduct with the entity that just flew over my head. P.O.C. As I focus in on them on camera, they come and focus in on me and fly over the top of my head while that specific environment is what is surrounding, pertaining to what is already on its surface targeting, because of the heavy stalking by that same department, but also as you're recognizing the specific environment. Even if I had one video, the targeted individual will to establish a pattern, so you need more than one video. Even if I had 3 videos and they're never flying over the top of my head, you're looking at the specific environment, and that's how you know that they're targeting you. This is P.O.C. It's currently 12:32 p.m. Hi, did somebody say hi? Hi. I think I'm gonna get some coconut water. This will be, this is P.O.C. Exhibit A in the prosecution of the state of California. This is Campus and Holt. This is who the Ontario Police are stalking on the roads and the highways. Bonneview, sorry, this is Bonneview and Holt. They're stalking. So is U-Haul, so is General Dollar, so is everybody on this bus. So is license 9STY 463 P.O.C. The Ontario Police are stalking while a demon crosses path, going to the front of the bus, asking questions he knows the answer to. It's activity creation. And the fake remains over the bus, over me, where I'm on the bus, and the entity is engaged in terrorism, stalking at the police department, which is what C. Hazelwood and Ravanco are doing as well. Engaged in another malicious iteration of targeting and psychological torture, and the threat to engage in kidnapping as gang stalkers, and the Ontario Police are being disbanded. And they're being disbanded for the public corruption that Omnitrans and the people of the state gang stalking on the bus are sharing in. All right, this is P.O.C. This is impossible light activity. Absolutely impossible. And it's also impossible that that's the sun. Okay, this is stalking by everybody on the bus. Everybody that lives, they're fully exposed to being raided where they live, fully exposed to being raided where they work, fully exposed to being raided out in public because of the federal government's prosecution for terrorism in the United States. This is Title 18 federal stalking, and it's also exposing mental illness and the demon-possessed population. The fake sun's moving as I move on the bus, and the same police department is stalking in helicopter. Allen and D Street. This is P.O.C. Omnitrans is a gang stalking state actor, and Alan D. WAPNER is being removed from office for the corruption of this business as well, engaging in surveillance. License EG 37L69 paper plate. That's light activity creation. P.O.C. And it's 12:56 p.m. where the entity has the fake sun over the buses. It's en route back toward where it's supposed to be in the first place, at the OVITT Family Community Library, when I'm walking in on Sunday at 1 o'clock in the afternoon. And the demon-possessed gang stalking employee is monitoring by opening up that front door, and that fake sun's over the entrance. That's the entity that's engaged in this P.O.C. It's currently, again, 12:56 p.m. So let me end it with this as well. Here you go. These are the demons that are monitoring my vagina. Okay, keeping my vagina under surveillance is the embarrassing fact that's having the police department disbanded. Excuse me. This is P.O.C. 9GMN 129, 9TET 457, 17899L3, 7UHS 684, 8XDX 537, 5ZOF 806, EC 94650, 44500E4, 5PXZ 681, 7YGB 674, BRI, and then it's like a sign hand, ROB, like a hand is in between. 8HZB 554, 8YKC 940, 7KTY 575, 6MUK 399, license 9KMN 396, that's an aged Asian woman, 5KDT 144, Latino male 26949N3, or at least he looks like he will be dark skin, 07608Z2, 9BXX210, 9TEM 816, and the entity going out of its way stalking me by helicopter on Vineyard Avenue, going out of its way stalking me by helicopter flying over my head at the bus stop on Hope Boulevard, going out of its way stalking me by helicopter while I'm on Omnitrans, and you see the fake sun over me in each video. Over my head on the bus while the bus is moving, the fake sun's moving. While I'm still, the fake sun remains still. And you're seeing the entity, the Ontario Police, stalking. And so are all of the people of the state. They're all the same condition as well. These are the demon-possessed. They murder people together. 6325, I can't really see the rest of them. License 9TTA 617. And the demon-possessed are calling Route 66 car show an event, and they're engaged in all gang stalking me, all of them. 9JFN073, because they're all engaged in what is surrounding me, pacing around me, monitoring me inside of the library, not paying attention to vehicles. And this is the same Route 66 car show where the fake sun was over me on the same street. That's Euclid Avenue, where a bunch of demons are, as you are learning, engaging in demonic activity, ritualistic conduct in front of your face, and you need to be aware of those things that you're participating in. Okay, the entities engaged in what is targeting me as a multitudes of demons, and none of their conduct, no matter how many of them are, that's how many of them will be defeated. They already are. That's why they're being prosecuted and exposed. The entities engaged, 9SPX623, the entities engaged in this is public corruption. You're going to prosecute for the inhumanity behind what the city of Ontario is engaging in. And they're also doing so with regard to criminal surveillance, federal stalking surveillance, and the entity engaged in the criminal expenditures, such as what the fire department, the police department, the airport. And these are also functions of the city that they're going to lose. They've sacrificed them. 59953T3, injustice requires that, by the way. It's P.O.C. Fake sun remaining over me on the bus, but then when the bus drives off and I get off of that bus, that fake sun is not under a sun anymore. Excuse me, that fake sun is not over that bus anymore. It's remaining over me. I'm the subject on that bus. And that bus represents a business. It represents an entity that's going to be prosecuted. And that's also why the demons of the Ontario Police are stalking in the close distance, if you will. Relevant positioning is how that's referred to, while they are keeping me under surveillance on the roads and the highways. Which you are able to identify that federal stalking system by the maintenance of a specific environment around an individual that's being kept under surveillance. And it's demonic. That's criminal conduct. Paul Leon's being removed from office for the criminal activity and the corrupt businesses that are engaged in surveillance, and a sex offense at an inhumane level. And it's at 1:10 p.m. P.O.C. Hundreds and hundreds of people are crossing paths with me at the Ontario Town Square, and they're all monitoring me, and they're demons that are listening to music while they do so. This is tremendous evil that you're witnessing, actually. Very wicked conduct, very sick and demented. License 25Y8622. That's a demon stalking with a motorcycle. Starting it as audible activity, starting it as light activity, doing so as the fake sun remains over me as I cross paths with that demon who is stalking. 80675L3. That's a corrupt business, keeping their food cart, GorillaTrucks.com, maintaining a food cart, a television. It's like a driving ad, if you will. They're gang stalking. 8BBN499. All right, the fake sun is not remaining stationary over the entrance like it is when I'm already at the venue of the library. It's remaining over me as I head to the library, which is speaking to the entity that is gang stalking, including under the name of a Route 66. This is a collection of the demon-possessed that are engaging in what is exposed as public corruption and very sick and demented methods of targeting one person even as they enjoy themselves and center their attention, this is malice, center their attention towards some sort of event or cause, and they're engaging in the same exact criminal system, which is also sexually perverted and demonic, satanic in its nature, and its character, and its purpose. All right, I'm going to show you the fake sun over the same entrance where it is as I arrive at 10 o'clock in the morning to enter. This is P.O.C. All right, these are demons that are pacing, and they're doing so with the entity that's holding a concert. That's not a performer, that's a demon. 74265U1. This is P.O.C. You'll see the fake sun just like it was on Vineyard Avenue, just like it was at RAMADA by WYNDHAM, 1841. That's never included in my schedule when I come from 415 North Euclid Avenue to this Ontario Town Square, and the entity has a fake sun over that hotel where the airport is stalking me. 61059D3, 9F3, stalking, monitoring my vagina. Also, a car full of homosexual women that are gang stalking me. License plate 9RVX154. Demon-possessed gang stalking. Demon-possessed gang stalkers, and doing so under the guise of what is an event today at the Ontario Town Square. This is Pollyon sponsoring terrorism. H162J1, P.O.C. And you'll see that fake sun over the top of my head, okay? Demons pacing, that's what they're doing. That's what they're doing at 6 p.m. and the fake sun is still here. They're pacing. It's mentally ill behavior. 4SJC157. Licensed homosexual stalking another woman obsessed with me, and they go in a frenzy when I pull my panties down. 7YXJ641. License 8LIY035. Monitoring with the Ontario Police Department is the OVITT Family Community Library, the same agency they committed kidnappings with the intent to obstruct justice, okay? This is P.O.C. You'll see one of the employees walking in, monitoring me, doing so with the Ontario Police Department. This is what they're all doing, okay? That's the pattern of conduct where they're walking in, clocking into work, doing so under the fake sun, monitoring me and doing so. And this is how also the demon-possessed psychopaths engage in what is supposedly some subtle, it's not subtle at all. They're doing so pursuant to my presence, and that's how you know it's intentional. You're walking into work under the fake sun while the entity is stalking with the police. These are the passive-aggressive psychopaths that engage in communicating that threat and hostility, orchestrating harassment by a demon that's loud-mouthing you while they're monitoring you, and then that demon comes in the next day and sits next to you or something like that. This is the conduct of mentally ill terrorists that are targeting you in all of the ways in which they show you their malice. It's not intelligent conduct. It's the conduct of cowards. It's passive-aggressive behavior. You're going to prosecute that. Passive-aggressive murderers, passive-aggressive pedophiles, passive-aggressive stalkers, passive-aggressive thieves, and liars. Okay? And there's nothing passive-aggressive about a population engaging in that. It's a threat to your life, and it's a government action. All right, this is P.O.C. It's 1:14 p.m. All right, demons engaged in surveillance in the bathroom. That is, they're walking into the bathroom and staying in the bathroom in order to stalk with noise while I'm being monitored outside of the bathroom. And a bunch of hollow zombies are pacing around in engineer light while they're obsessively stalking on behalf of the Ontario Police, who's being disbanded for this ongoing stalking by dead people that are monitoring inside of a library that's engaged in gang stalking as well. It's currently 2:02 p.m. where ongoing terrorism is underway. The same demons that are stalking me throughout the city with a helicopter are stalking me inside of the library. And going into a bathroom to engage in that is absolutely demented. They're going to be both committed and convicted, okay? While you're walking by and the sound of the toilet coexists, those are psychopaths that are gang stalking. This is what they're doing inside of Starbucks while they walk in and out of the bathroom, like I documented those weirdos at 507 North Euclid Avenue. The entity stalk with amplified noise as they're creating their coffee drinks. They're doing so under the fake sun. That's the fake sun over the library where they're gang stalking and they're not concerned about a car show. These are demons that are engaging in the pattern of conduct inside of the City of Ontario OVITT Family Community Library, centering their attention, centering the activity around me while they know what I'm doing on my device. And they're also sex offenders because you also know that their knowledge concerns that which it shouldn't, and it is my vagina. Okay, it's 2:03 p.m. This is ongoing terrorism, stalking, and furtherance of murder. And it is speaking to the inhumane level of violation of privacy, including in my devices, as well as what is the sex offense of surveillance in bathrooms. Going into a bathroom to monitor somebody else outside of the bathroom is also a sex offender and very psychotic. Okay, that's a sick person, and this is a whole population of them. This is P.O.C. It's 2:04 p.m. Does
doesn't speak Spanish can step in for me and take over the class.
Because I was just wondering, because I thought about that, and that is interesting. But I was like, I think my deficiency would be the Spanish part. Like, you know?
No, it's they're all different backgrounds. I've had Egyptian.
No,
I've
that's true
had
too. You're right.
Taiwanese.
That's right. You're true. That's
Yeah.
excuse me. You're right about that. That's true. It could be more than, but most of the time it's Spanish. But you're right.
Yeah, but the
It could
whole
be.
class is in English, so we're not speaking Spanish in there. Yeah, so there's no like English. There's only English speaking in there. It just makes it easier a little bit, like if somebody that only speaks Spanish and is barely learning for the first time and they get stuck, but that doesn't really happen. The people that are coming in, they have like a general sense.
And they're there because probably they
Yeah,
have some sort of a grit. They want to get more of it.
they want to get better. A lot of them have tutoring. They have one-on-one tutoring, so they're already working on getting better aside from that conversation clip. So we'll go over story, and then we'll talk about the news, and it's all in English. And then if we have time, we go over photos from around the world. We talk about that.
Interesting.
Yeah, it's cool. Come check it out.
I thought about it when you were asking me, and I was just going to ask you to clarify, like, what if I am not strong with Spanish? That was the only thing I was thinking about. So, okay, I see what you're saying now.
We all kind of crave a little bit of community, and that's like a great way to...
Hi, Mickey. How's it going? I'm fine. All right. Thanks for explaining that to me.
Yeah.
All right. I'll talk to you later, everyone. Oh, this is mine.
Did you check out the car show outside?
I saw it out there. I saw it yesterday, too. I'm, like, not fascinated. Is that bad? I don't really care. Like, not that much. I don't really care. I saw the food, though. Like, that's what'll get my attention. There was food out there. It's a good day to get something cold and icy to drink. There was like, funnel cakes. That's the stuff that caught my attention. But, I mean, like, if I was with my boyfriend or something, he cares about cars, you know. I don't care, though. On my own, me by myself, I don't really care. You know, some of them are cool. Like, I saw, like, some of those old Impalas, those old Ford Mustangs from back in the day, and they are pretty cool. Like, but I'm not, like, to be out in the sun staring at it, getting hot. No, I don't care enough for that. What about you? You care? Yeah?
Sometimes.
Sometimes. Yeah, I don't really care that much. All right, see, it's like the Super Bowl. It's like, you know, if I'm dating somebody that's watching the Super Bowl, I'll probably have it on, but by myself, I'll be in the air conditioning doing my nails, taking a nap. So I don't really care. Yeah. Anyway, I'll talk to you later. All right. Her and Mickey are monitoring me. Impossible light activity shooting through the library while she's very calmly, you know. And that's not because she's ignorant. It's because she's malicious. And she's monitoring with a whole bunch of demons that are sharing in the elements of monitoring. Mickey's coming out of the infamous administrative door while the demons use that door closure as a means of monitoring me. The door closure, if you pay attention, and I say, hi, Mickey, seconds before that, the door is closing. Mickey is monitoring what she knows I'm doing on my phone, and so does the person that I'm talking to. These are demons that are engaged in gang stalking for the first time. They're being surrounded with evidence proving that they are malicious, that they're engaged in targeting, and because they're engaging in a malicious pattern of conduct, they are not going to openly, they have before, I've caught many demons getting out of character, but because of the pattern of conduct and because of criminal surveillance and because of demon possession and because of the fact that you're not supposed to know unless, what are you, some sort of demon, or you was some sort of witchcraft? How do you know what I'm doing on my phone, and why are you concerned about it, and why are you acting like you're doing something illegal, et cetera, et cetera. But because of the nature of the criminal pattern of conduct, the entities engaged in targeting me in a manner that I'm not supposed to know, but I do know, and they also know that they're being documented, so you have this little game that they've already lost, all right? But that's P.O.C. It's 2:46 p.m. It's called Malice, all right? It's September 20, 2025, if I haven't already stated that. This is documentation of the entity following me from place to place, keeping me under surveillance in what is legally significant. That's a hotel room. That's a private space. A sex offense is underway when the government's keeping you under surveillance in a private space. There are also sex offenders, as you see, go into the bathroom to engage in monitoring. That is, then they're throwing around the toilet seat. I'm not a boy, but the last time I remember, I think men use a different type of, these are not men, these are demons. I think boys use a certain type of object to relieve themselves, and most of the time it doesn't include a toilet seat, but that's what they're using with regard to activity creation that's supposed to be expected from that type of venue, okay? Like gang stalking me inside of Starbucks, the type of activity that's expected from that type of venue. Everything is amplified in volume as they're making coffee, amplified in volume with regard to the light activity as they're walking in and out. Everything is exaggerated and it's psychopathic. In other words, while a demon-possessed entity is keeping you under surveillance, it's the same bare bones foundation, the elements, and then they're doing it in every type of location that I'm at, everywhere that I'm going, and it is state surveillance and it's demonic, and they're, as you can see, entirely malicious, okay? I am not malicious. This is with regard to the ability to skillfully and discreetly and in a dispassionate, unemotional manner, gather the facts regarding criminal activity. And so this is not the same character while I'm dealing with the maniacal psychopath who is able to engage in targeting me and keep a smile on their face. And I'm aware of it, and I conduct myself appropriately in order to prosecute that predator that does it to other people that don't know that it's going on, okay? And that's the government that's in your face threatening you like that. That's a threat. It's a threat. It's 2:48 p.m. This is P.O.C.
All right, I'm happy to hear that. We're so excited about that.
This demon is monitoring me. He's monitoring while the fake sun is at the same Ontario Town Square that it is in the morning over me. With hundreds of people here, he's monitoring on a microphone on a stage for the Route 66 Cruise and Reunion. And as he starts speaking on mic, this is the demon that's focused on me. As he starts speaking on mic, the demon starts sounding sirens. The fake sun is in alignment, reflecting off of windows on buildings, which is another method of stalking with a fake sun. When it's reflecting off of a building, like a first floor, second floor window, impossible light activity. This demon is targeting. This is recognizing how demons are targeting you when they're not addressing you, when they're not talking to you, when it shouldn't be about you, but it is amongst the demon possessed. They're all monitoring demons at the Ontario Town Square. I took a picture of him. He's fat. He's wearing a hat. He's on a microphone standing at the center of the stage. And this is 224 North Euclid Avenue.
ONT Fuel, brand new. So we hope all of you out there will come join us for that opening stretch.
Thanks, Ray. And let's go.
That's Ray. Ray's a demon.
I'm going to go ahead and let Ray do the first award. And just so you know how this will work, we're going to go really.
This is public corruption.
And Carol, over here to my left.
This is demonic activity. This is criminal monitoring on federal stalking. Elvira, she is a demon-possessed, gang-stalking, mediocre songstress, okay? She's monitoring me. And her criminal engagement in the pattern of conduct is occurring under the guise of the Cruise and Reunion Route 66 show. And she is scheduled. That's an admission to criminal presence and activity creation. Literally the schedule of the Route 66 flyer that is online. She's engaged in Title 18, Section 22618, subsections 1 and 2, federal stalking on communication devices with the people of the state, with the city of Ontario that are stalking me by commercial planes under the fake sun, captured it, stalking with the same Ontario Police Department, criminal summoning, stalking all day long by helicopter, and guess what they're doing at the Ontario Town Square? Engaged in criminal summoning, surrounding with light activity. She's monitoring, threatening my life, engaging in what is gang stalking under the guise, the malicious guise of being a performer. She's a demon. And very unimpressive. She's a demon. Her name is Elvira. I'm taking a picture of this demon. You'll see her, and you'll also see the flyer speaking to the admittance of those, the admission of those that are engaged in criminal monitoring with the City of Ontario, which is incriminating any and everything having anything to do with it. This is the P.O.C. This is the entity that's engaging at 6:36 p.m. in the specific environment, the gang stalking demons on the stage, and all these demons walking around cars while they're monitoring me together. This is a massive and inhumane sex offense that the entity is engaged in. All these people looking at cars where they're monitoring my vagina. That's what they're doing while I'm inside of the bathroom of the OVITT Family Community Library. P.O.C. All right, California Highway Patrol is here, gang stalking as well, maintaining light activity around the perimeter, and this is under the guise, we're having a car show. The Sheriff's Department is here, gang stalking, surrounding in the perimeter, engaging in the criminal pattern of conduct, and centering it on a car show. The Ontario International Airport is flying over, targeting me and doing so. The fake sun's in alignment to me, that's California Highway Patrol, gang stalking. San Bernardino County Sheriff's Department, gang stalking. The Ontario Police are always gang stalking. They even left the car show to follow me around while I'm on Vineyard Avenue, while I'm on the bus back to this venue where the sun departed from being over these demons on Euclid Avenue, when I'm on Euclid Avenue, the fake sun is remaining over Euclid Avenue. They are not concentrating on cars. These are demons that are monitoring. The demon-possessed, they engage in many iterations of demonic activity, ritualistic conduct, and these are things that you need to be aware of.
And because of the nature of this, it's wicked, they tend to engage in criminal activity. This is criminal, right? And it's public corruption. This is P.O.C. It is currently 6:39 p.m. California Highway Patrol using a state vehicle, license 165-6898. That's again 165-6898. California Highway Patrol is engaged in gang stalking and facilitation of gang stalking and furtherance of murder. They're right here gang stalking right under their little booth. For California Highway Patrol, it's P.O.C. All right, and this is again public corruption with the people of the state. California Highway Patrol is gang stalking. I'm capturing them on the roads and the highways. I'm capturing them gang stalking me on the freeways in Los Angeles while the fake sun's remaining over the sunroof of my car, and they're aiding the demon-possessed that are on the side of the road in need of assistance, and they're monitoring together. It's criminal summoning, okay? It's P.O.C., and they're at the Route 66 car show monitoring me, not engaging in anything that's constitutionally protected, and it certainly has nothing to do with the duties of any law enforcement agency. This is public corruption that California Highway Patrol is engaging in. Doing so, I want to be clear, under the corrupt leadership of the one that is appointed by Gavin Newsom, a demon who is very much engaged and knowledgeable about this corrupt system of surveillance that I'm subject to, okay? He's the one that appoints these demons in these positions while they're engaging in this pattern of conduct, all right? That's audible activity. These demons are monitoring together. P.O.C. All right, it is currently 6:40 p.m. This is openly as demonic as it gets. Just so that you can see, this is impossible light activity. All right. These demons are monitoring while light appears and the shadow of the trees are appearing over here. These demons are all monitoring, hundreds, scores of them. They're all monitoring. They're all demons as well. That's what you need to know. The demon possessed, hollowed out zombies. While impossible light occurs on a wall that's pacing. He's walking this way, walking back. These demons are pacing. They're all monitoring me. That's P.O.C. That's very demonic. This is Satan. Satan surrounds, and Satan's holding a Route 66 car show today. And demons that are engaged in what is gang stalking are doing so under the malicious guise of holding a show today. All right, this is P.O.C. That's a demon stalking with light. Pay attention. It's a P.O.C. Demon possessed. All of them. Monitoring. And I want to be clear, this open engagement in it, this is going to be in court, and the entity's going to regret it. This is the pattern of conduct. There is nothing that's aiming that sort of light, creating the shadow. There's no lamp over here. There's no light show. These demons are walking around, and the so-called fake sun has set, or actually it's hidden behind these buildings. And as I walk them down the street, it's remaining in alignment to me. And the entity just started this light activity right now. This is P.O.C. And Elvira is indeed a demon, and she is indeed engaged monitoring, and her mediocre talent was on a microphone in order to monitor audible activity, okay? Okay, this is P.O.C. It's currently 6:44 p.m. at 224 North Euclid Avenue, where I'm subject to the pattern of conduct with the City of Ontario, and the City of Ontario is hosting what is a corrupt means of gang stalking and furtherance of murder. And this is getting to the entity that commits murder as well. This is an entity that, again, roam around, engage in criminal conduct without criminal records. It's nothing noted on their record necessarily. Those that are subject to the criminal justice system and have a conviction are not those that are a part of an entity that's full of everyone else that doesn't have such patterns or haven't ever been prosecuted. Gang stalking is terrorism. And every single last one of them, varying backgrounds, same condition, same criminal system. And they're demons that are monitoring me. That's impossible light. That's speaking to malice, and that's speaking to the reality of what everybody's actual focus is, and it is gang stalking. Okay, this is P.O.C. This is Wells Fargo, 240 North Euclid Avenue. California Highway Patrol, San Bernardino County Sheriff's Department, the Ontario Police Department, so-called Black Patrol, the security, they're all gang stalking. Okay, that's P.O.C. This is massive public corruption in violation of Title 18 federal stalking, and it's also criminal conduct occurring in furtherance of a criminal conspiracy to murder as a government act. Okay, that's P.O.C. That is indeed P.O.C. All right, I just want to be clear that impossible light activity that's manifesting, the entity is engaging in what is hostility, okay? What I told you is exactly what it is. The demon possessed are psychopathic, okay? And these are raging demons, as they hear me document the California Highway Patrol. Understand the demons that are walking around with smiles on their face looking at the cars and playing music. They're paying close attention to what I'm stating, and they're all monitoring on my device, aware of what it is that I'm exposing. And then you have the light activity just flashing all over the place. This is a threat, and that's also how you're going to prosecute it. But I want to break down what the demon possessed engage in. Hostility and aggression and criminal conduct is occurring pursuant to what I am doing, which is documenting. and that's for a prosecution. So it will be in court with regard to the criminal means of public corruption and further into trying to murder me and psychologically torture me. And the entity is doing so pursuant to and aggressing, escalating in that. The impossible light activity is an escalation with regard to a threat. This is inhumane with regard to the pure numerosity of stalkers, okay, of those that are engaging in surveillance with the government. California Highway Patrol is posing that threat. And the light activity starts, by the way, after I document the entity and referring to the demons of the California Highway Patrol, who are already on the record. So all I did was, let me give you that license plate, let me show you the same exact specific environment, and who's here stalking in the path, thinking that it's not going to be connected and that there's no court. No, they're delusional. It's the a specific environment. It doesn't matter what you call yourself doing. You can have sex in the middle of the street under the fake sun. It's activity creation. You're doing it in a relevant position to me, and they're not even focused on each other while they're engaged in that intimate act. They're doing so to monitor me. That's how obsessed the demon-possessed are, okay? And I use that example to let you know that this is mental illness that is no longer closeted. This is a threat to American citizens that are unsuspecting of it. This is a threat to the national security, and it is an incubator regarding what are those who are threatening American citizens and those who are targeting them, monitoring them, obsessing over them, stalking them, setting them up, kidnapping them, murdering them, engaging in what is bearing false witness against them. They're doing it with the demons that are gang stalking, with the police, with the highway patrol, state police, with the government that's using all manner of aircraft, aerial surveillance, and they're calling it a car show. Okay, this is speaking to the entity engaging in that, and the entity's aggression, meaning demons engage in what is communicating what is hostility and aggression and escalation, while with their satanic and psychopathic light activity. And you're looking at hundreds of people walking around while that impossible light activity is there. That's letting you know about what's in their minds that I told you about before. These people are psychotic, and they are murderers and serial killers, and it's not on their criminal record. They gang stalk people and they commit murder as an entity, and they get away with it as they sacrifice people, and this is a failed sacrifice. And I'm exposing to you what the entity is also going to be prosecuted for. This is P.O.C. The entity is engaging in today what's going to be a series of federal offenses tomorrow, and the prosecution for terrorists, where they will be committed and they will also be convicted. All right, it is currently 6:49 p.m. and how and why? Because that's relevant to what is direct evidence of federal stalking and surveillance. All right, and it's within a pattern of conduct where an American citizen will enforce their rights, and you'll have what are the entity that's going to be prosecuted. Any mayor of any city engaged in this level of inhumanity, here it's Paul Leon, he's being removed from office, okay? And the city of Ontario is going to be literally deconstructed regarding what they thought on as a satanic entity. They thought on the backs of people that they're sacrificing, they were going to build up this city, and no, they're not. They just ruined, they sacrificed it, okay? It is currently 6:50 p.m. This is P.O.C. Route 66 molesting, Route 66 stalking with Alan D. Wapner. All right, remember Route 66 includes state actors and companies. So I'm speaking to a group, 8NTK353, that are doing so while they're monitoring Route 66 hostile while I'm uploading the criminal activity that Route 66 is engaging in. Okay, that's again the entity doing so. 5GTS 80. I can't really see that one. This is a turning at the turn circle, where your headlights aren't going to be touching on my breasts and stuff. 8MOK 843. The entity relies on sexual violence in order to harass you because you're publishing the evidence, because it doesn't stop me. And I've already documented that pattern of conduct. These are demons who are violent sex offenders who know what's being uploaded, and it's still being uploaded, and I'm going to document the sexual violence that Route 66 is engaging in. And Route 66 is targeting with the California Highway Patrol. Route 66 is targeting with the Ontario Police Department, doing so as an entity committing multiple kidnappings, also exercising authority under the law that it does not have. A demon-possessed gang stalking police officer, talking about the municipal code, and doing so when it doesn't even apply. And even if it did, you're a terrorist and a stalker wearing a police uniform. Anybody entertaining that nonsense is going to federal prison with him. And I'm talking about Ravanko, and I'm talking about Hazelwood that are going to prison. Okay, going around engaging in what is gang stalking and doing so wearing a police uniform. You just got the whistle blown on that whole agency. But that was if they were the first demons. I've had years of them gang stalking, and they're gang stalking now. And the evidence is being uploaded onto the Google Drive and YouTube right now at 6:55 p.m. Route 66 is engaging in a sex offense with the intent to obstruct justice, while bringing about what is a means for the government, for the people of the state to terrorize me, and then calling it an event that as though it has anything to do with cars whatsoever, and it doesn't. The specific environment is what supersedes. The Route 66 is nothing other than another iteration of a terrorist, and I'm going to prosecute. That's malice. American citizens are psychologically tortured, they're murdered, they're kidnapped, they're harassed and terrorized by enemies of the state operating under names such as Route 66, organizations and businesses where they're engaging in making a lot of money, and they're engaged in terrorism. Okay, they're doing so. And Ontario Police gang stalking isn't helping them. These people are going to be in federal court. They've sacrificed the city. They've sacrificed their identity. They've sacrificed their organization, their department. They sacrificed it. And then you need to know that they're violent sex offenders. They practice pedophilia. And that's why they resort to sexual violence in the most demonic way. You want to touch me, and you want to touch me with impossible light. It's not even your headphones. It's not even sunlight. But you want to touch my breast, though, because you're a sex offender. And that same mens rea is legally relevant. And it's doing while they're engaged in federal stalking. That's why strangers are engaging in touching my breast with impossible light activity, because they know who I am, and they're engaging in what is a pattern of conduct. This is P.O.C. The video is being uploaded right now at 6:57 p.m. This is where I'm subject to Route 66, targeting me by every demon getting on that stage, targeting me by every demon that gets on that stage with that microphone, engaged in what is audible activity. I'm capturing the impossible light. That's massive facilitation, and doing so through the corrupt government. They're being dealt with, and the people of the state are being dealt with. And this is what's pathetic. These are hundreds of people, if not thousands, that are getting together. And guess who it's about? The targeted individual. And my name is Erica Lorraine Spencer, and I've been targeted for years. And this is why the entity sought to murder me, because they didn't want me to expose this here. But gang stalking is not the answer, and that's what the entity sought to do, to try to silence me. But that's why their witchcraft and their demonic conduct is going to serve to have them committed, have them civilly and criminally prosecuted, have them disbanded, have them removed altogether, have them exposed regarding corruption and sexual violence and psychological torture. And what needs to be exposed is rampant mental illness and public corruption, okay? It is currently 6:57 p.m. This is violence occurring under the guise of Route 66. Don't forget that, because that's going to be in court. This is P.O.C. It's 6:58 p.m. 01305A2, that's a sex offender molesting me. That's an act of aggression. It's also a sex offense committed by an entity, not an individual. That's a demon that's acting on behalf of the state. 8 UAX 237, the same. That's a sex offender. Specifically, it's a homosexual. That's demon-possessed, engaged in gang stalking. Stalking a woman in a manner that a homosexual doesn't want to be identified or associated with, but she is indeed stalking me, and she's also obsessed with me and engaged in things such as trying to touch me without being able to prove that she's touching me. That's called molestation with impossible light. That's what demons do. License 9TXG404, molesting with this demon license plate, with the Ontario Police as well by helicopter. 9FPB899, and Route 66 is engaged in terrorism with the Ontario Police. License 9SMX405, and so is Elvira. Okay, this mediocre songstress, gang stalking with the Ontario Police. There's nothing impressive about that. She's a demon, okay, and she's a terrorist. And she gets on a mic where she wants to be worshipped by other demons that celebrate mediocrity and losing as well. That's why they're all stalking me. License 8XER094. License 7GSV174. License sex offender, one after another. This is what they're doing under the fake sun. This is stalking. This is the same ritualistic conduct. 0130582 wants to have another stab at it. That's a homosexual, okay, molesting my breast, and she's pacing around. License plate 8XZW036, 7EMS932. The Ontario Police is being disbanded. They're gang stalking, engaging in terrorism and furtherance of murder through thousands, that's millions of people. I've been documenting them engaged in criminal activity, unprecedented criminal activity. All right, they're not just engaged in, for example, well, I don't want to say just, because any criminal activity is inappropriate and improper for law enforcement to be engaged in, but I mean, this is unprecedented. Criminal conduct and hypocrisy. This is not even ordinary public corruption. Ordinary public corruption is exceeded by gang stalking by the government. The state represents the government, and the state is doing it, and including these corrupt police departments. That's unprecedented. Okay, this has never been before proven. It's been in existence for a long time. It's never been proven. 9CMM694. And the Ontario Police are therefore being disbanded based on the level of criminality, based on the a prolonged engagement in it based on also their attitude toward what you also know as well, their attitude toward not engaging in criminal conduct, their attitude toward enforcing your rights under the Constitution, which they're supposed to protect and uphold, their attitude toward not engaging in violence against women, their attitude toward your human rights, your attitude toward their position under the Constitution. The Ontario Police Department has told you all of that. They're being disbanded. They are enemies of the United States. This is why when I'm documenting gang stalking immigrants, they engage in threatening me. And who is your loyalty to? It's certainly not to this country. It's certainly not to American citizens. The immigrants will be dealt with, and so will the enemies of the United States, the Ontario Police Department. License 17WX072, 9UHL435. And this is what you can expect by the people of the state, period, demons. There are demons in the country, in the world, that exercise a lot of influence in this country. They sell products that you buy. They're billionaires. They're sitting on a lot of money. And they betrayed this country a long time ago. Okay, that's how they made their money. All right, and they have puppets walking around in the hood gang stalking. They can't even pay their rent, but they're gang stalking in this same system. Okay, they have no loyalty to this country. This is what you need to be aware of. They are all connected based on their condition, the demon possessed. That's what they're connected by. And on the surface, they portray ongoing separation and discord and the lack of unity. No, Satan, they are united in destruction. They are united in targeting those that are part of Christ's kingdom. 9PHC 426. They are united in that. All colors. No, the demon possessed aren't racist toward each other. They are united in targeting those that they seek to destroy together. They're united in that. Okay, and it includes their little demonic children. It includes every aspect of their life. 9GNE852, 8PNW750. They're not concerned and committed to anything else. That's why they take time out of their day taking shifts stalking me. Don't you have something to do? Don't you have a newborn baby to take care of? Don't you have a man at home? No, your man is stalking me, and so are you. Oh, you take time out of your day to come and gang stalk the target individual? That's what they're actually committed to, okay? And these are demons, and this is the actual focus, all right? And the spiritual realm is something that you cannot ignore anymore. 90DU665, 8LXR495, these are terrorists. The same exact criminal activity I'm documenting every night when I come out of the library. Guess what's happening? It's happening under the guise of Route 66. It's the same exact pattern of conduct. And now you're able to see a lot of demons all together doing the same thing that I'm documenting every day. It's not changing. There's just more and more and more of them, and they're the cockroaches of humanity. Okay? There are a lot of people that don't like themselves. There are a lot of people engaged in what is serving Satan. There are a lot of people engaged in witchcraft. There are a lot of people that are demon-possessed. In other words, there are a lot of people that are going straight to hell. That's the reality. They're going straight to hell. That's the unfortunate reality. All right? But that's the reality. It is currently 7:08 p.m. That's criminal summoning. The demons sound sirens as I walk across the street. Demons are molesting with light. They're also doing so hostile. All of them are hostile, but what I just uploaded on the internet, they're all focused on me. It's not about the cars. They don't care about the cars. They're stalking me. This is ongoing stalking. This is pathetic. 9LNZ693. The Ontario Police is engaged in criminal activity. It's criminal summoning. All right, this is how they keep themselves employed, and through the people of the state. They're fired though. They're not employed. They're fired. All right, and they're engaged in, but they're still engaged in what is exercising authority. That's why they're being disbanded, because they're sitting around acting like, conducting themselves like they're law enforcement. You're going to prison for that. You're being disbanded for kidnapping pursuant to that. That's a threat though. That's a threat. That ongoing, that act that the Ontario Police is engaging in, that act is threatening the lives of American citizens. Acting like you're a police officer, acting like you can arrest somebody, acting like you have authority under the law, acting like you're not a demonic, demon-possessed stalker, 16796Y2, like you're not engaged in surveillance. You're definitely not acting, because you are definitely delusional, because you clearly forgot about the 200 plus videos that I've captured since June, since that entity engaged in what is plain making up, and they just made it, pulled it out of their bottom, just made it up, and then engaged in a kidnapping. Since that kidnapping in June, the entity, over 200 plus videos. And what am I capturing? The entity stalking, flying over my head, flying in circles around me, targeting me every day, every night. And you're looking at what is also impossible. You that are watching me in Florida, not one day ever would the sun be over you while I'm documenting the Ontario Police stalking me day and night under a fake sun that's remaining over me from the beginning until the end of the day. You can look at the P.O.C. just by my evidence. Just ignore the Ontario Police for a second. When I'm capturing video and you see the sun in my video at 7, and I'm capturing another video, you see the sun in my video at 2 o'clock in the afternoon, the sun didn't go anywhere. I didn't drive to Florida. I didn't go to Los Angeles. And the sun is not going to rise and set in Northern California and set in Southern California. The sun, this is showing what has been ignorant from the outset. It's not even logical what the entity is engaging in. How was the sun ever going to be in San Francisco when it's remaining over me? All of these illusions that we've been made to believe and not question, you don't even think about it. But that in and of itself, the entity's already surrounded, in a chokehold. The case is over with regard to that pattern of conduct. And they're engaging in what is a massive means of demonic ritual right now. And they called it making a lot of money, inviting people to come and perform. They're engaging in gang stalking. This is how public corruption is existing. All right, and the Ontario Police are going to be disbanded. This is how they keep themselves employed. You're a psychopath, and that is, again, threatening American citizens. Holding a flag while you're engaging in un-American conduct equals federal group stalking and monitoring, period. Okay, that's what the gang stalking Hicks in Victorville did. Okay, they are hostile to my documentation, and what I'm talking about, the implications regarding what's happening in the United States, and it has no business happening in the United States. And then the next morning, those demons, who were following my documentation in Hesperia at the Holiday Inn, and then the next morning, those demons gang stalking me as sex offenders, and it's so unfortunate because they're flying flags. They're flying flags while they're engaged in a sex offense. All right, but that again, the demon possessed are not intelligent. They don't even. It's really unfortunate. But anyway, it is entirely un-American, and it's like I said before in my documentation, it's either exposing what this country is actually about, what the history of this country is actually built on, and that's why demons are proudly waving their flags while they're engaging in terrorism and sexual violence. Woohoo, I'm a sex offender, and you're waving your flag, your sex offender flag, is that what that is? Or is this something speaking to what is disparaging to this country and not reflecting the true history of this country and what this country is about, okay? I'm gonna enforce my rights regardless. Even if the entity just has the Constitution in existence to create the illusion, what's gonna be reality regarding the pattern of conduct as it's prosecuted, sex offender 16796Y2, so that a whole bunch of other demons can pace through that light. This is a Caucasian male, gang stalking with his children in the vehicle. He's a sex offender, and he's a demon. Okay, molesting my backside, my buttocks. He wants to touch on a black woman's behind while he's been procreating with another white woman. Okay, he's a sex offender. All right, and he's obsessively stalking, not looking for a parking spot. He's a sex offender. He's molesting with impossible light. It is currently 7:18 p.m. This is P.O.C. The entity maintaining the car show on Chevron grounds. This is supposed to be the guise of stalking in the path. Every business, every Starbucks, it's the same P.O.C. It's Route 66. That's the pattern of conduct. Route 66 is monitoring. That's P.O.C. Excuse me? All right. The SA that's engaged in monitoring. 1764929. 17G4929. Gang stalking with the City of Ontario. All right, engaging in the pattern of conduct, revering his, there's nothing cool about that. That's a demon monitoring my vagina, and there's nothing cool about it. But that's his license plate, and it's Route 66, providing what it's facilitating violence while gang stalking is underway. This is P.O.C. Hey, Black Knight Patrol's in here gang stalking as well. It's 7:14 p.m. This is P.O.C. Ontario Police gang stalking, and this is Route 66 engaging in domestic terrorism, the same pattern of conduct. A gang stalker is on microphone at the Ontario Town Square engaging the P.O.C. This is the same exact crossing of path. His shadow is on the wall, child. This is demonic. That's a demon. And the shadow is on, this is a demon. He's monitoring. This is, here you go, they're monitoring. These are demons. This is public corruption. This is impossible light activity, and the Ontario Police are being disbanded. The Route 66 reunion is public corruption exposed, and it's domestic terrorism, and this is committed in furtherance of murdering someone. Route 66 is engaged in the state's conspiracy to engage in psychological torture and ongoing harassment. The multitudes is relevant to the inhumanity. The demons are stalking, monitoring, and engaging in harassment with impossible light. Okay, those stage lights, they're not going to flash on the wall. These are demons. This is light activity. And this is where the fake sun rises and sets. That's the same P.O.C. All right, it is currently Pay attention to the schedule of the entity's pattern of conduct through Route 66, because the demon on stage is engaged in federal stalking with the Ontario police. In furtherance of murder, the police are being disbanded in Ontario. This is P.O.C. It is currently 8:17 p.m. These are demons, just so that you know. Demons over and under the age of 18. Demons of the San Bernardino County Sheriff's Department. Demons of California Highway Patrol. Demons of the Ontario Police. This is P.O.C. You see his shadow? He's pacing. And here's my shadow over here. And here's another shadow over here. This is demonic. This is out of the pit of hell. And they're calling it a Route 66 show. It's federal stalking. Okay, another mediocre demon-possessed gang stalker on a microphone. Gang stalking targeting with the police. And they're demons alike. P.O.C.